Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize, white girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Genuinely thrilled to have a Miami Herald legend and icon in the building, Izzy Gutierrez. Also, Greg Cote in with us today on a Tuesday. Very excited to have all of this journalistic firepower in here. Juju and Jessica are here, and we begin with Greg Cote being infuriated at the United States men's gymnastics team.
Yeah, I mean,
microphone. It's on.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Glad
How
to be
are you?
here.
Yes.
Infuriated me, maybe a little bit strong a word, but I'm watching last night, and I'm seeing the bear hugs, enthusiastic high fives, fist bump, bear hugs. They won bronze.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Look, I get it. I get it. The last time the U.S. men gymnasts won a medal of any kind, it was 2008. I know it's been a minute, but still, I thought it was a little bit overboard for bronze.
This is infuriating to me. As hard as these people work to get on a medal stand, and to not have the country be able to do it, and for you to not celebrate third place achievement because your American God-given entitlement is that it's got to be first place or bleep off.
Yeah, well, you're putting words in my mouth. I'm celebrating. I'm happy that they won bronze. Okay. You know, I'm going to watch them on the medal stand.
You should be happier, though. Just like you criticize their happiness for being too happy,
right.
You need to be happier about them winning bronze.
I love you legislating how happy I should be about something.
I love you legislating how happy they should be about something.
Right.
Greg, you are the king of nostalgia, right? What was the old address, 1440?
Yeah.
So
still
to
is.
me,
Yeah.
So to me, this hurts my heart to hear you say this, because this brings me back to when I was 7 years old in 1984. Man, I dated myself. 1984 with my sister, and we're watching Mary Lou Retton, and that was just a seminal moment for me as a sports fan. And this one yesterday, in the middle of the day, a bunch of kids out of school probably watching that. Like, that's one of those that might stick for a while, whether it's gold, silver, or bronze.
The big difference is in 84, Mary Lou won the gold. The men's team won the gold. That's some of the best gymnastics we have ever seen, ever, all time. Also the best Olympic Games of all time. Greg is right. These Olympians are setting a bad example for our kids. No one celebrates third place. You don't do it.
What are you talking? Yes, they do.
What?
Everyone celebrates when you get a medal in the Olympics.
Right.
What? It's a team event. It's points-based.
In team tournaments,
they didn't play for it.
You have the top seed versus the second seed, and then you have, the third seed play the fourth seed for a consolation game for third, for the bronze medal, essentially.
Let me tell you how it works, okay? Christopher and I are doing the Father-Son Olympics on the Greg Cote Show podcast, okay? And in the last event, I got my ass kicked in marshmallow expectoration, okay? I'm not celebrating second place. I'm pissed at myself for not winning, okay? You celebrate optimum celebration, like I saw last night, should be reserved for gold medal winners. If I win the silver, my first thought is, damn, I didn't win the gold. I came that close. If I win the bronze, I'm happy to have a medal, but it is the low-ranking medal. I'm not denigrating what they did. They should be happy. They were way happy.
He is celebrate appropriately. That's all he's saying. Act like you've been there before.
Getting on the medal stand is an achievement. There are teams that got very close that did not get a medal, that did not get to stand up there, that we will not remember. We will remember this team because getting a bronze, there was a drought since 2008 where this men's gymnastics team did not medal at all at the Olympics, and they finally were able to do it this year, and they were appropriately very excited to bring home hardware. I was listening to the Women's Game podcast with Sam Ewis, who was on the U.S. Women's National Team during the Tokyo Olympics. They lost the semifinal against Canada, and she said that the leadership on their soccer team told them, we know this is devastating because now we won't play in the gold medal match, but we need to win the bronze medal because going home with nothing is going to feel much worse than going home with a bronze medal and being able to stand on the podium and bring that medal home and say that you were an Olympic medalist. And so that is why competing for a bronze medal matters, because there are so many athletes that go to these games that come home with nothing.
Yep.
And they were able to stand up there on that podium excited appropriately for how meaningful it is to bring home a medal in this Olympics for the men's gymnastics team.
And the margins in gymnastics, as somebody who's been watching since 1984, are razor thin these days. These teams and these athletes are so good. You can't make any mistakes, Greg. If you watch that, you have to nail every single performance just to get a bronze. If you fall, if you trip, if you hit the knee to the ground, you are out. And that was a heck of a performance.
I wanted to crush my dad when I first heard this take. And I'm like, you know what? I know how I'm going to get him. I'm going to look up the odds and see how low down USA was and see that they should be celebrating to get third. And then I looked at the odds. Japan and China, huge favorites. So you knew they were getting gold and silver. It's just a two-team race, basically, based off these odds for bronze between Great Britain and USA.
Oh, so we won again.
I'm just saying, to my dad's point,
we beat the Brits.
They were basically, it was a two-horse race for bronze.
You say it's a two-horse race, but I assume the Cote Podcast Olympics are also a two-horse race?
That's true.
On marshmallow expectoration?
We call it marshmallow hawk twoing.
Well, I don't. But yes, it's a two-man race, so I'm not going to celebrate finish second.
Yes, but the competition, again, is not international. It is not worldwide. It's you and your son on spitting out marshmallows.
And my dad has asthma, and it was his idea to do it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Has to be the underdog. I mean,
one of my favorite things in all of this stupid genre is the hair splitting on appropriateness of celebration, where Jessica's arguing that was an appropriate celebration and Greg Cote is arguing a little excessive.
Okay, here's a point I would make. In no other sporting event more than the Olympics are there three obvious levels of celebration: gold, silver, and bronze. That's what I'm saying. And here's an example I would use for you. In World Cup soccer, okay, they have a championship game and they have a consolation game. If you win the consolation game, you have won what is tantamount to a bronze medal. Nobody is acting like U.S. men's gymnastics when they win the consolation game of the World Cup for third place.
At the risk of alienating the audio audience, Juju, would you mind just coming in here for a second? I'd like Greg Cote to reenact what would have been the appropriate celebration after winning in gymnastics with his teammate Juju.
Congrats, Juju.
You guys won the bronze medal. I'd like for you guys to show us what that should have looked like if you indeed you found it excessive.
I feel like it's a fist bump, and that's about it. Like, you can't hug each other. Just, a couple of fist bumps. Good job. Let's go to the podium. Let's listen to Japan's national anthem.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little high five, right?
Okay. So Greg is walking up to Juju, gives a high five.
It's a bit much.
Hug, a casual hug.
And then we're going like this because, all right, we're happy.
Yeah.
We're just
You
chatting.
disgust me.
Right.
Why do you guys even like sports? I mean, come on. Really?
I believe that Jessica leads our world in being enthusiastic about what it is she's watching because it's just amazing sports in cubes. It's like, make me care about these people in 9 minutes based on what they're wearing. Give me their story. Make me care about this in 9 minutes. And Peacock is doing a hell of a job of that.
Dan, the Olympics gets me all the time because I never get emotional leading up to it. But when I'm watching, forget it. It brings me right back to my childhood. Yesterday, about 3 p.m., I was pacing in my living room, butterflies in my stomach, nervous as all get out. The women's volleyball team was against China. That's the last 2 gold medal winners. They were going to a 5th set. You've got the men's gymnastics team have to hit on every routine. And then you got the last guy, Billy Gill, with like a jacked Billy Gill over there.
Steve Neterozic, the pommel horse specialist, comes in, and it comes
Jack
down to
Billy
the
Gill.
last event, and he pommels the out of that horse.
The definition of you had one job. This man was being like, they were looking at him, they were telling him exactly how long until his event, and he had to nail it. One job, he nailed it.
The amount of pressure on these people, as somebody who can tell you, I've been in some circumstances recently just playing games with people where there's information that I know, and then the pressure is ratcheted up because we're just playing a game in front of 5 people, and all of a sudden my mind doesn't work as well as I know it should work. The fact that these people are competing at this level, caring this much about this, and they can't fold it up. When you're talking about the amount of expertise and the margin for error in this sport because of how good the rest of the world is, I don't envy these people being in this position, and that celebration feels like a bit of relief to me on top of everything else.
I'm more interested in your game night.
Yeah, me too.
Like, what are you doing there?
Like? You're nervous.
Charades? I mean,
I was sitting there just yesterday in front of Taylor and Thomas are putting together like a bunch of 2000 lineups.
Oh, I love this game.
Yeah, and it's like I'm looking at a 2002. I can't decide whether it's a Royals lineup or an A's lineup, and just playing in front of them, I'm more nervous than I would be if I was just doing it right by myself. And so when I know that, Stugotz, none of this ails you because you're incapable of shame.
No, it actually does. The first time we went to Lake Tahoe and we had to tee off in front of people, I was a nervous wreck.
You shanked it.
I did shank it.
I remember that.
There were like 26 people there watching us, and I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was.
Recording
Yes.
in progress.
I think that we're all chokers. I think here we would find a lot of chokers if anything was ratcheted up to a fraction of the pressure that these people are facing in the elements that they're facing.
I mean, you talk about pressure and the agony of defeat and narrow defeat. I lost Olympic towel folding by 0.2 of a second to Christopher. Okay, so I've been there.
But you're going to have to trust us because my dad screwed up recording that portion of the Olympics.
Well, that's
So we
true.
don't have a clip of
Greg,
it.
if you got a $15,000 payout for finishing second in Olympic towel folding with Chris, would you have celebrated more?
If I had a payout for second place,
$15,000.
You probably would have celebrated.
no, I don't think so.
I think
And
you would have celebrated.
Look, Stugotz and I are alone on an island here. Neither one of us is saying it isn't good for them getting a bronze medal for the first time since 2008. But it ain't gold and it ain't silver, and the way they celebrated just seemed a little over the top for me.
I think
That's
the
all.
way that Jessica looks at the two of you is what's happening in this room. I believe that Stugotz and Greg Cote, because of the amount of time they have spent around sports and in this industry, there's a bit of numbness around stuff in sports that feels good to people who really love sports. Like, you guys have been eating McDonald's fries for 50 years,
So
and you've
good.
been working at McDonald's for 50 years, and now you hate the McDonald's fries and everyone that eats them because you don't care about this the way that Jessica's watching this, it feels like, I'm consuming just her social media commentary. Her enthusiasm is off the charts for some of the things that she's watching because there's discovery in it and wonder and awe. And you two you're in your phone right now. You're swigging from your drink. Like,
We
you guys,
won a bronze,
you guys
right?
don't care that much about
Swigging it.
anything. You only care about how can I come over and criticize it.
It is funny, too, though. I was watching the U.S. celebrate, and then you watch China just devastated because they choked away the gold, and yet
Right.
they're a spot higher than
Yes.
the U.S. That was a little bit weird.
You
But
go to
There
the
you
Olympics
go.
to win golds,
There
not
you
to win
go.
silvers,
Bronze-
not to win bronzes. You go to win a gold. That's what you go
Bronze
for.
was the only thing they could win, though. Now I'm back on the other side. You guys are idiots. There were 2 teams that could win gold and silver.
Right.
There was bronze.
Why do they give out the bronze medal then, Stugotz? Why do they give it out? It's 100% an expectations thing, too, because like Izzy said, China was very disappointed because they had a couple big mistakes and missed out on the gold medal barely by like less than a point. And so their expectations were, we want to win gold. We have one of the best gymnasts in the world on our team. Like, we should be winning gold in this team event. And so their expectations were to win, and they didn't do it. So they were disappointed. The U.S. expectations were, we just need to get a medal. Like, we haven't medaled in this sport in so long, and to be the first team to medal since 2008 would be huge. People will remember our names. People will remember our performances. And that's exactly what happened, and they were rightfully super excited to be up there.
All right, let's give out a fourth-place medal made out of tin. Let's give out a fifth-place medal. Let's give everybody a medal, okay? Here's another. Stugotz and I are the only ones with a proper perspective here on this, and here's another example I would give you. Okay, Miami Dolphins haven't won a playoff game in 23 years. If they finally win one this season, it's going to be a huge deal, and they're going to be rightfully celebrating. But it ain't the Super Bowl. Okay, you celebrate that.
How are they going to celebrate the AFC Championship win? Just a casual handshake like you and Juju?
No, they're going to be happier than winning the wild card playoff game.
Right.
But they're not going to be Super Bowl happy, and you don't
steps of happiness.
And you don't get gold happy by winning a bronze. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
I think the important thing to remember here is that there are brothers on this team who will make a legacy now for their family. Some people they'll be the first person from your family to graduate high school. I was the first person in my family to go to college.
So was I.
This is going to be a monumental accomplishment for those brothers on the team. Their names are going to be in the history books now. They're celebrating that as well as the journey, all the broken toes, the broken ankles that it took to get here.
Right.
So I understand what you're saying, but this is different than the NFL. This is for your country, and they got to represent it. I think they should take pride in not meddling. I think they should take pride in just participating.
Just being there, huh? Yeah. Greg, there is a third person who agrees with me and you. That person is Herb Brooks. If you remember, Dan, after the United States hockey team, 1980, Lake Placid, they beat the Russians. That was the semifinal game, and everyone was celebrating like we won the gold medal. Everyone except for Herb Brooks, who told his team, if we don't beat Finland, okay, in the finals, gold medal game, what we did against Russia means nothing. It means nothing.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. A couple of different questions. Is this show the world's leader in talking about the 1980s Olympics?
Yes.
And also put on the poll, should there be a fourth place medal made out of tin?
There you go. And by the way, to quote the great Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last.
Yep, well said.
I believe that that's the best representation of America there could possibly be. Talladega Nights and Ricky Bobby. I think that's what we're going for as a country. Just gluttonous stupidity.
I mean, I went Herb Brooks, an American legend.
To follow up on Juju's point, Greg, there was a gymnast, Paul Judah, and he continually led off in almost every event. And the pressure to lead off is tremendous because, again, every routine counts. His parents are from Poland. He's a first-generation American. And for him to win a bronze, and this country, again, hasn't won a team medal since 2008, that is a huge accomplishment. That's a life story. Those are the types of stories that you see with, like, slowed-down music and Tom Rinaldi speaking in the background in an NFL game. Like, that was incredible, his story. And did you see his TikTok dance afterward? Yes. Oh, my goodness. The kid is going to be a star.
Legend.
Juju and Jessica seem to embody the spirit of the Olympics. Root for America. See if America can make you proud, but don't be cruel to the American athletes and offer them a medal made of tin if somebody screws up on the pommel horse.
Nothing wrong with tin.
What do you mean there's nothing wrong with tin?
Is there a place on the stand for tin? I mean,
or
are you off to the side a little bit?
Yeah, you're in the shadows. You're in the shadows. But tinfoil is probably the most valuable utensil in my kitchen. I use tinfoil for just about everything.
There is a funny randomness in this, in that we do make it the top three finishers, and I, for many years, since the 80s, have wondered how much it hurts to be the person who works for 4 years and finishes in fourth place by 1/100th of a second in a race. Like, what kind of haunting that is. And if we just made it so that there were a fourth medal made of maybe not the insulting tin, but something else. Bronze is pretty random. I'm not sure why we do 3 instead of 5. I'm not sure why it's accepted 3 instead of 4, but I have often wondered, you work for 4 years and you lose by 1/10 of a second? my God, that has to hurt to get back into training next week when you arrive back in the States.
I think I heard in one of the opening ceremony segments on NBC that it used to be 2 medals and then they added a third medal like 100 years ago or something like that. And there were a few swimmers. There was one swimmer that finished in 4th place in Tokyo. I can't remember which swimmer it was, but she said that like that was crushing to her. Like finishing in 4th and losing out on a medal by like 100th of a second probably feels in some ways worse than finishing in like 6th or 7th and being like, all right, I wasn't good enough. But some of these races, especially in swimming, come down to like the millisecond, and it's like a race to just touch the wall quicker, and that is what keeps you off the medal stand. And I think it's insane, but just hearing athletes talk about how crushing it is to finish off the podium in 4th place and how motivating it is to try to get back and just get on the medal stand, I think speaks to how big of a deal winning a bronze or a silver is.
I watched a women's swimming event last night. I'm pretty sure it was a 100-meter breaststroke, and the top 6 finishers were all within 1 second. Mm-hmm. It was insane. Even they showed the replay. It was like watching a horse race where 6 horses are within a nose of each other. It was insane. It was the most exciting thing I've ever seen in the race, and it was just the 100-meter.
And Lily King got 4th in that.
I think so.
From the U.S., yeah.
Right.
Like,
Right.
So she should get a medal, or she should be disappointed.
10.
Right, exactly. But if she finished 3rd, she should be celebrating like what?
Celebrating.
Okay.
Her name will be in the history books.
Okay.
Her family name will be. She just made her father as proud as she can make him. She
Right.
No,
put
not
the
quite as
family
proud
name-
as she could.
Right.
Not
I mean,
quite as
you want to
proud.
see Brad win a gold.
Okay.
I mean,
She made her father the 3rd happiest he could possibly be.
there were 2 other fathers who were happier.
Seriously.
I have 2 questions. Is tinfoil a utensil? And I'm surprised to hear that it's the most used utensil in your kitchen. For me, it's a fork.
Well,
I mean,
it's not a utensil.
He called it a
I
utensil.
looked up the definition of utensil is broader than I thought. I thought utensils was just basically the definition of utensil is pretty broad. It's like anything used in the kitchen.
Well, one of the brother words of utensil is utility, and little in the kitchen has more utility use than tinfoil. You can wrap up. You can use it to heat stuff in the oven. You can wrap up leftover pizza, throw it in the fridge. There's all kind. You can make a beautiful hat out of tinfoil. You know, there's just a myriad of things you can do with it.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Is tinfoil a utensil? I'm with Chris Cote and Stugotz on this. I believe that a utensil has to be something that you can hold in your hand that kind of has a handle, right?
Yes,
I don't
right,
think
right.
of
Wax paper
I don't think
a
of like
utensil?
parchment paper as a utensil.
Just
like,
because you can make a tool out of the aluminum foil does not make it itself
or a
utensil.
utility, right?
Or a hat,
But
yeah.
but by definition, does it?
I
You
got
keep
the
mentioning the tinfoil hat.
He
I'm
has
not-
fun with tinfoil.
I have
mean,
a definition right here. It's
Give me some tinfoil. I'll make a hat.
definition of tinfoil. Tinfoil of utensil is an implement, instrument, or vessel used in a household or especially a kitchen.
So Tupperware?
Yes, Tupperware is a utensil.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Is there a distinction between tin and aluminum, or is that pretty much the same thing? Because I get aluminum foil.
It's a good question that you're asking there. Put it on the poll as well.
Excellent.
Are aluminum foil and tin foil synonyms? But I am thinking for some reason that this medal that Cody is making for 4th place, it's worse than aluminum. If I gave it aluminum, that'd be bad enough. But tin feels like something out of the 1800s that they were using before they invented aluminum. Tin sounds even, and I don't even know the distinction between them. But I think tin is more insulting as a 4th
Right.
It
medal.
always sounds insulting. Something sounding tinny sounds insulting, right?
Not when you make it into a hat. I mean,
That's true. Then it takes on a whole new life.
And you're the quarterback of the Jets.
And the 5th place medal would be made out of styrofoam, I guess.
I was trying to figure out who to make the joke, the tinfoil hat at whose expense. I use this because the tinfoil hat is used only to talk to the aliens, correct? That's the only thing that a tinfoil hat is used is to represent your nuts, correct?
Or to attract a lightning strike.
Why would you be wanting to do that
Well,
to your
yeah,
head?
no, I'm saying
Because
that
you're
would be a
nuts.
use for a tinfoil hat.
For science.
yeah.
Right?
No.
Yeah.
Greg,
Yeah.
I want
No,
to
he's
put a
right.
pin in this with you. No one is arguing that it wouldn't be better to win a gold or a silver than a bronze.
Seems like you were.
No. Obviously, being the best is the best option. What we are simply saying is don't yuck their yum. They're very happy they won the bronze, and they deserved it, and it was a deserved and appropriate reaction to making history. That's all.
Based on expectations, I mean.
Based on everything. Based on the team's history, based on their individual performances and coming together and everything that they did. Very appropriately happy for the bronze medal.
We are all going to take a break now, and when we return, we will see how well Greg Cote has made a tinfoil hat. It is a bit hard for me to explain to the audience, an audience I imagine that does not care about what the technical difficulties are in doing this show. It's a little hard for me to explain to the audience when I've got a number of different things crackling in my ear, and I'm not totally sure whether I'm hearing that Zoom voice tell me that something is recording because I'm actually hearing it or because it's happening behind the scenes and didn't actually go out on air. So there are a number of times in the first 24 minutes of doing this where something was going wrong. So I wasn't able to play whack-a-mole with my two co-hosts here and get all the facts right on no. A tinfoil hat does not lure lightning. It prevents you from having lightning in your life. And Greg Cote is going to continue to try and make this tin hat. All we've learned by scouring the internet is that tin is heavier than aluminum, which suggests to me if I made a fourth place medal out of aluminum, it's more insulting than if I do it out of tin. If I'm giving you a heavier medal that is made of tin, I still don't know the difference between the two things, though. Do any of you know the difference?
No, but I was thinking maybe we just bump everything down and add a platinum medal. So first place gets platinum because platinum's the heaviest metal, right? Like that's the most, if I want platinum jewelry, I know that's going to cost me, all right? And then there's gold, silver, bronze, maybe tin for fifth.
Don't forget about diamond. You should get a diamond medal too. So hey,
ooh.
Can albums be aluminum? My album went aluminum. No.
You're willing to put platinum
I wish I had an answer.
Diamonds ahead of gold?
Well, you can move anything ahead because in the first Olympics, the winners got an olive branch and a silver medal, and then they upgraded to gold. So, yeah, we can go platinum. We can bump gold down.
Which has the higher status, the platinum Amex or the gold Amex? Platinum, right?
Platinum
by
sure.
far.
Well, but
yeah,
actually,
but the
black
one is
does.
better.
Ooh.
It should be a black.
Ooh.
Yeah. There. Yep, a black medal. Yeah.
That's very controversial.
What do you mean?
Making black better than all of the other medals, you're asking for an Olympics that is a little political.
Right on, brother. Right on.
Greg Cote is very busy trying to make what
we can hear it. It's an unmistakable sound of aluminum foil being moved around.
You can't do it silently. I mean, it's impossible.
It is impossible.
The worst, like late at night when you're trying to like get a thing of leftovers that's covered with some aluminum foil and you're trying to quietly open it so your wife doesn't hear it.
There was a half second where I'm wondering what in the world are you doing with aluminum foil at 3 in the morning?
You know what I'm doing,
I
brother.
should have realized it right away. My fault.
That is the lament of a fat man shame eating in the middle of the night. You're trying to...
Everything is so loud at night.
Now you get
like
mad,
the mic. You ever try to open a microwave door?
Right.
Every,
At the worst.
yes,
Yeah, it's so
every
loud.
kid
Right.
who has ever snuck out and come back home with the munchies
Yeah.
knows how loud it is
At
to rustle
noon,
around.
Yeah.
You don't hear it. I can
Yeah.
open that microwave as hard as I want at noon.
My
but if it's at
ankles.
1 a.m.,
Crack like nobody's business at 1 in the morning.
Right.
1 p.m., silent.
Everyone can hear it. You get mad, though, at your wife because you're like, hey, how about saran wrap? I mean, can I open this thing in silence?
What's noisier? Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. The 3 a.m. aluminum or the 3 a.m. opening of the bag of chips?
oh God,
The worst.
I just don't do that anymore. 'Cause it's embarrassing when the wife just pokes her head out of the door at 3 a.m. Like, what are you doing?
It's that noisy. It's your rummage, your late night rummage. This has to do with the drinking, though, right? You have less grace late at night.
Yeah, a lot of it. It has to do with a lot, Dan. There's a lot to unpack here.
I'm a little bit of an overnight eater sometimes. I sleep in
shut
like
up.
3 or 4 hour segments. The best part about it is when you sleep next to a snorer, you don't have to worry about knowing if they're awake or not. That's snoring. That's going to be asleep. I'm good. I got at least an hour.
This is the saddest hat I've ever seen.
I
Bro,
love
got
it.
on a damn aluminum beret.
It's not great. It's not a great look. You've spent a
Viva la
lot of
Greg.
time
Yeah.
working on the aluminum hat, and as a payoff,
Just
it's-
molded it to your head.
It's not. It doesn't
Okay.
look much like a hat.
No, it's
doesn't
stylish.
look-
It really is.
I needed to use more tinfoil. Okay, if I have a second opportunity, it's going to be like this, but deeper and better.
Okay.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
You got another crack at it.
Great.
Go
Okay.
ahead, because
Good.
the first
Leave that one on while you work on it.
I'm
Yeah.
not satisfied with that.
Okay.
It's a flat hat.
It's not great. Again, at the risk of alienating the audio audience, I do want to go to some video here of our dangerous streets in Miami. Many of you have seen this. I wish that I had waited until right now to show this video to Jessica so that you could have heard the cackle that we heard before the show when she learned of this video for the first time. Our streets in Miami, as I've said, very dangerous, and this is right outside the Elsor. The viral video of a man at an intersection leaving his car, and while enraged because a woman threw some sort of drinking thing at him, he runs over to where she is, jumps up in the air, and karate chops her rearview mirror on the side of her car.
It's very impressive.
And it's unbelievable. I'm trying to reach this man because it is he is like a superhero. The fact that he knows he's going to destroy that rearview mirror.
Did he know?
He
Because
must
it felt
have.
like he just jumped in the air and then decided what he was going to do then.
Oh, it's so good.
It's actually at the very beginning, you think it's, oh no, this is not good. It's a guy attacking a lady, and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be bad. And then he just like decides to like atomic bomb elbow drop. Oh man, he must have hurt his wrist. Do you think he gets back in his car there and is just like, my wrist?
There's definitely a bruise. It's probably a slight fracture. And now that woman is a worse driver because she does not have a side view mirror.
I think the way that works, you get back in the car, you have the adrenaline going. You get back in the car, and like 5 to 7 seconds later, you start looking at your wrist. You're like, ow, man. You start shaking
Wait,
it.
I don't want to move away from this just yet. What I want to ask all of you, okay, is all of you, have any of you ever had the combination of rage and confidence to jump up in the air like Thor himself and bring down from the heavens a righteous confidence that is going to destroy a rearview mirror that you know is going to destroy it as you jump up, but you weren't sure whether you could destroy it without jumping up that way and having the full force momentum?
I don't mean to be a wet blanket, but do that to a man in the car, is my opinion. Because I don't give a damn. Like this ain't funny to me. Bro, if that's my little sister in the car and a man walking up to the car at all, bro, you're getting self-defense. As soon as you take a step towards my car, self-defense. So you do this to a lady, bro, that's embarrassing. I don't like this, bro. Don't have this brother on the show with me on the show because that's embarrassing. That's a lady, man. Come on, I don't give a damn about no mirror. You better watch your ass out, bro.
Juju, you're right, but I think if you roll back the video from the beginning, I think the lady threw something.
Yeah,
I don't give a damn. That's
Right.
a lady.
Right.
That's a lady.
Right.
That's a lady. That's hard stop.
Well,
That's a
isn't
lady.
every car a she,
Hard
really?
stop.
I don't think it matters. Like, I get what you're saying, Juju, but like, it shouldn't even matter who's in the car. Like, this is an absurd overreaction to someone throwing a styrofoam cup at you.
I wish somebody would do my girl car like that. Boy, you're getting bushed on camera, on film.
At the risk of discarding the wet blanket and still just isolating the performance after the inappropriateness
Dan.
of the level of the rage. Let's say this person isn't doing it to a woman, isn't doing it to anybody. He's just jumping up in the air in a way. I want to freeze frame him in the air.
It's a self-driving car, Dan.
That's right. It's a Tesla. Thank you.
Well, then he might be justified because those things suck.
That thing might explode. One of our self-driving cars might explode and actually win the fight. The absurdity of this reaction, since we're spending the entirety of the first hour of this show gauging whether emotions on people winning bronze medals run too high or whether they run too high here in the street. Juju, of course you are right that the reaction to that should not be that. But I will say that my wife has rarely been more disappointed in me than when she has to hold me by the chest because I want to get out of the car and do that to somebody in a South Florida.
I'd love to see you try.
Man, that would be a great video.
That increasingly, I mean, we could have that video. It's happened. I've never seen my wife more disappointed in me than not being able to hold me back by the chest as I'm going off into South Florida where someone can shoot me and get away with it. It's the height of stupidity. I deserve the disdain in her eyes. It's not something that I can control, not the way rage works.
Well, first of all, if you freeze frame that the way we did, it looks like he just won a bronze medal with the U.S. men's gymnastics team. That's what it looks like. He's celebrating. But secondly, I think road rage is probably where you feel the most embarrassed right after. Like the things that you do, the things that your wife is telling you when you are going nuts, you probably feel 5 minutes later and it's just like, God, I was so stupid. Over what? He made me flinch? Oh.
Yeah.
Having a kid has kind of shown me that, because I'll just sometimes forget my daughter's in the back seat, and I'll just be like, "Oh, what the bleep?" or something, and she'll just be like, "Daddy, what's wrong?" And I'm just be like, "You know what? I overreacted there. You're right. I'm sorry."
There was a guy who cut me off coming out of a parking lot. Okay, just blatant. Just saw me coming and decided to just jump out right in front. Had me slam on my brakes to the point where it just like started to shake a little bit, right? And then he pulls over to make a left turn near me still, and I'm swearing on my life. I was the only one in the car, so nobody can believe me. He did a white power sign, like right by his head. I nearly lost my mind. Like, you want to talk about normal road rage? I followed this dude for 2 miles, and I stood next to him staring at him for every single light until he was man enough to turn and look at me. Never looked at me. It was a mile in, and I was already embarrassed, but I continued. And by the end, I just failed because he ran a red light, and I wasn't willing to.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You never know who you're dealing with out here in these streets, bro. You run around karate chopping cars, bro. I would have caught you midair. I'm not gonna play with you, bro. I got heat for people like you, cuz. Like you did, like you're not finna run up on a car that I'm in. Like that's 100% goofy, man. Like,
but if you do,
we should not celebrate this brother at all. Boo this man when you see him, ladies and gentlemen of the audience.
Oh, just laughing. I mean, can I laugh at it? I mean,
the stubborn pride of masculinity is a special kind of stupidity to behold. And when you know you're in it, when you're in your rage and you cannot control it, because I ate the middle finger the guy gave me. It's when he started cursing me under his breath, but loud enough for me to hear that that my wife.
It was go time.
Well, it's stupid. I'm not bragging about it. It's really dumb. It's an ignorant thing to do. And yet I couldn't control myself from doing it, even though I knew I was doing something that was ignorant. Rage bypassing ignorance consciously is a bit of a mind bleep.
Yeah, it's one of the easiest things to me to sort of let go of. And the thing that makes people that have road rage the angriest is when you just smile or laugh at them. They get so angry when you do that. It seems like it just ratchets up a little bit more.
What is going on with this hat?
How are you feeling, Greg, now? Speak into the microphone. We've lost you for 2 segments with this stupid hat idea, and I don't think we're going to get a payoff. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a payoff of any kind.
Looks a lot like the first hat so far.
No, this will properly fit my
This is
my
the new
dome.
and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
I have lost you for 2 segments, Greg Cote, because you've been very busy making aluminum foil hats.
Thank you.
You're proud of this latest version of the hat that you have created? It's bigger than the other one.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem worth any of our time and effort. I'm not sure it's a very good hat.
Looks like an upside down boat.
This does not rise to the level of pride, but I do think it's better than the first attempt because this one fits my head a little bit better, gives me a little coverage, is a little snug. Mm-hmm. You know, I could wear this out in a rainstorm and not really get rained on. So I think
you could collect the rain in there
hat.
too if you need to.
You're like Johnny Cash on Hee Haw. Goddamn.
That's a good reference. I would
What's
have
that?
thought you were
Hee-haw
too. I would have thought you were too young for hee-haw references.
What did he say?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You didn't, of course, you didn't have your earphones
had a tinfoil
on
hat on.
because
You had a hat on.
It's
Right,
tough.
right,
It's tough putting
yes.
this hat
You're
over
right.
headphones.
You're
you
right.
can't do both. I'm
Right.
only one man.
Yep.
I mean, I can't do it all.
You
That kind of
are indeed only one man. I don't understand your that kind of thing reference. What is happening in my ears now? You're that kind of thing as a slogan.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
When do you use it? Like, when is it an expression?
It's almost always appropriate. It's a place card. It's a segue. It's an affirmation. No matter what somebody says to me, I'll go, yeah, that kind of thing. I'm agreeing with them. I'm giving them affirmation.
It's a throwaway, though. It doesn't.
It's a utility phrase.
It
That's
does,
what it is.
It does
Yes.
seem like it's the
you.
aluminum of his phrases.
It's the aluminum foil of phrases, and it's got to be said quickly as one word. That kind of thing.
I want to know more about these family Olympics on the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote.
Yeah,
Chris, can you tell me more about what is happening there? Because you said you have marshmallow expectoration, you have towel folding. I was told here recently, I agreed to this. I assume it will never happen because they also need Stugotz's agreement on this. But I was told that we're doing swimming. I have never in my life had a race where I swim. I don't know the last time I swam. I really don't know. There is no way I will win this. I'm assuming that these Olympics that we're doing here are only meant to get me and Stugotz shirtless, correct? That's the only goal here.
And jumping into a pool of the whole thing. Yes, we are efforting to do it. We are going to do it. And it's going to be later in the Olympics. We're kind of building up to it, Dano.
What do you mean you don't know the last time you swam?
No, raced, like he's saying.
Race.
Oh, a race.
A race,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
And also I would say the last time I swam, I've been in pools and stuff and done some stuff underwater, but like a stroke of some sort, I legitimately can't remember unless it's underwater swimming. I can't remember what kind of stroke I've ever put together trying to race in a pool.
Cranking up the excuse machine. You just jump in, you jump out. That's it. I mean, we've a lap in once in a while. How about that? Good for you.
Yeah, I don't do very much of that. If I'm in a pool, it's not to weave a lap in once in a while. I don't know how many laps you're doing, but what other Olympics are we doing here, and what other Olympic categories are on the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote?
Swimming is really the only thing we're efforting because it's a whole thing. We were going to do multiple sports, but we're just focusing in on swimming. We're going to probably have like a preliminary where like the shipping container, if they want to, anyone that wants to from the show, where we race, and then we build up to the main event where Dan and Stu race.
100 free, or what are we doing here?
I'm thinking, that would be there and back. I was thinking that would
anybody
be
can do the freestyle.
because I want to see the underwater push off the wall thing. I
the
want to see you
turn,
guys do that too.
The
You
turn.
got a
The turn's the
butterfly.
key. Yeah.
Two Americas, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to mean to fit the stereotype, but I wish we had any more activities other than aquatics.
What is the rest of the group doing? Like, I'd like to know some of the other categories that were in your Olympics.
Yes.
And is this the only thing I'm going to be competing in? Okay.
We were going to do ping pong because a lot of people around here think they're good at ping pong. but
Everyone
that-
thinks they're good at ping
That's
pong.
still TBD.
Everybody.
I'm really good.
Right.
I think
I'm
I'm
the
bad.
best.
I
Yeah.
think I'm
Same.
really bad at ping pong. I think everyone would beat me
I
at that.
know we're fantastic at pickleball. I know that for a fact.
That should be in the
I
Olympics.
want to play pickleball.
No, I would take them.
Do you know that you're great at pickleball, or you just know that Roy's not great at pickleball?
No, I know me and Jessica are the phenomenal team that we are.
Okay.
Champions.
How about that?
I would like to find the video, please, and the audio of Anthony Edwards and his interactions with the table tennis team, because he also believes he is exceptional at table tennis, and you can believe you're exceptional at table tennis, and I will tell you, you're not Olympic exceptional at table tennis. If you think you are Olympic exceptional at table tennis, you clearly have not been watching any Olympic table tennis. None of you would win a single point against any of the people competing at the highest level of Olympic table tennis.
I'd get a point.
Not
I mean,
a
come
point.
On.
Not
Get
a
out of
point.
here.
Not a point.
You have them beating me 21-0?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Get out of
Have you
here.
seen how they hold the paddle when they serve?
They're great.
Scary.
They're talented. I understand that. But a point? You're going to hit a shot out every now and again. No.
No.
I don't think you could return a table tennis serve. The way they hold I can't even fathom the physics of it.
I return the serve of a professional tennis player.
Anthony Edwards over here.
Stugotz, you did with a cigarette.
I did. Right. Even
Oh, I
more
remember
impressive.
that. Yeah.
Right.
With
I think
the
I did too. I got a racket
It
on.
was after like 50 tries.
With a cigarette, you did return a single serve from a professional tennis player. You did. But you are also someone, and this is criminal in your industry, the lack of expertise in it, who consistently underestimates the excellence of the people playing sports and consistently overestimates your own excellence when it comes to these things.
I'm just saying a point. I mean, a little slice backhand. I mean, good luck getting that back to me.
It really is absurd in that he does believe these things with the center of his heart. He believes that he can do anything against anyone.
To tie up a loose end and answer your direct question, the 5 events so far in the Greg Cote Show's Father-Son Olympics, in addition to towel folding and marshmallow expectoration, we've had pickleball bounce, we've had nail pounding, and we've had, what was the other one, Christopher?
Staring contest.
Staring contest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so
On a podcast.
Yeah, right.
On Zoom.
Yes, that's right.
What is pickleball bounce?
It's where you take a pickleball paddle and a pickleball and see how many times you can bounce it
Wow.
to at least eye level without missing. And
Did Chris's daughter come up with these games?
well, we didn't want like just any old Olympic event. You know, we wanted something that you couldn't see in Paris. Okay, you can see anything else in Paris if you want. You can't see towel folding in the Paris Olympics.
Well, you
So-
can't see it on your podcast either because you bleeped up the recording. So, that part I found kind of amazing. The fact that an Olympic event has disappeared because you had technical issues. It just vanished. You didn't do it over. You just recorded the result and moved it on.
Right.
Somehow that is. Do you know how hard it is on a podcast to have a worse idea than a staring contest in terms of what it is you're providing to the audience?
That's just it. That's exactly it. Yes.
I hit record and handed my dad the phone. His job was to just hold it there so that they could hear when I was doing the folding.
Well, tell us more then. How did this towel folding thing play out? Because I'm intrigued. I've been on my share of cruises. I actually have a couple of towel folds in my house that I like to show off.
It's not like the animal. It's
Oh,
not
no,
that.
it's not a judged event.
Right.
There's 3 disheveled towels in a pile,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a timed event. Who can take the 3 towels, fold them, and stack them neatly?
So no extra points for fancy folds.
No, it's a race to see who can neatly fold 3 towels and stack them on
Now
top of each other.
you videoed me doing that,
Right.
so there's a record of me doing it. But when you were folding the towels, that's when there was a malfunction on my part.
Yeah, my dad, he doesn't fold a lot of towels. He was like laying it down on the table, like me. I'm doing it like you fold it in half up here, 2 folds. Like it's part of my job with laundry is folding
And
the
yet
towels.
you
Why
only
you
beat
won
me
the gold? Yeah.
Well, you only beat me by 0.2 of a second.
I had some major fumbles though.
I was just about to ask, who won?
I won.
Who
0.2.
won?
0.2 seconds.
What were the rejected contests?
Well, we're only halfway through the Olympics, so we've got 5 ahead of us.
As you can tell, there's not a great vetting process. It's basically, oh, that's an idea. All right, let's do it.
It's what we agree on.
What are the 5 ahead of us? What
We
do
don't
do?
know yet. We fly by the
okay,
seat
good.
of our pants.
I love it.
We're going to pull it right out our...
Ooh, flying by the seat of your pants. Sounds like
Yes.
a good event.
That would be a good event.
That expression, does that come from Peter Pan, from something in theater, from something in acrobatics? The flying by the seat of your pants. I
damn
don't
good question.
know where that expression comes from. Before we get to the F1 minute, which I want to get to, Stugotz, I did just want to circle back around on how it is we underestimate how much athletes care about their singular obsessions. Being in a swimming pool as a sport seems super lonely. We have talked to swimmers before, including Michael Phelps, about that loneliness and just as a lifestyle, what it is to try and train to be 1/10 of a second faster than the next person. I really can't fathom what it is to be that good at something that you can be 4th best in the world, that you can wait 4 years for something you want to achieve, and that you lose by 1/10 of a second when you're spending all 4 years in that loneliness obsessing about how do I get that extra 1/10 of a second. I can't imagine what the haunting is to finish an arbitrary 4th place instead of an arbitrary 3rd place by 1/10 of a second when you have to do what these people do to care the amount that they care to actually get to the top of the world to compete for these things.
Yeah, and then not even have a tin medal waiting for you.
Right.
You know.
Because you were 4/10 of a second
Yeah,
slower.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's got to be the worst sports pain imaginable, right? You train your entire life by yourself. It's a lonely existence. You're training. And someone else in another part of the world is also training, and that person is 1/10 of a second better than you are at swimming. I mean, that's got to be a lonely feeling, a sad feeling.
This is why they say during the opening ceremony for a lot of the athletes, like, this is your moment, because you might not get a moment of glory playing your sport. You might not even make it out of like the first heat to qualify to race in the final or whatever your sport is. And so, like, this is it. You get your little boat ride down the Seine with your flag, and that might be the pinnacle of your Olympics moment because it's so hard to win.
Flying by the seat of your pants, first used around 1935. It referred to pilots flying in heavy fog without their instruments. They learned to tell whether they were flying right side up by pressure against their parachute packs.
Wow.
Basically, I have it as with the seat being the largest point of contact between the pilot and the plane. It was from the seat of his or her pants that the pilot could feel how the airplane was reacting to his or her controls. So it has nothing to do with the actual pants and everything to do with your ass.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. I thought it was Peter Pan. It's Peter Pants. Because we genuinely do have here two South Florida journalism icons, I want to get Izzy's thoughts and Greg Cote's thoughts on Tua's signing because it's fairly monumental for the quarterback, for the Dolphins to announce that they have a quarterback they believe in who they're going to pay. It's something, odd as it is to say, that we have not had in this market this century. It's not something that we've known in this market. It's weird. It's a weird thing to say. So we will get to that in a second. But I want to tell everybody here who's been with us in the local hour and has followed our show for 20 years that before football season, we're going to have a few announcements to make that are pretty cool about how it is that we're expanding and how exciting it is after, 3.5 years of doing this away from a mainstream place to now have the paywalls coming to us and saying, hey, can we have your content? And it wouldn't restrict any of the other places you're in. We just want to add to your reach and your growth. And we're gonna have a couple of exciting announcements before football season. But for right now, you can get us every day live on YouTube from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern. You can get us on Max from 11 to noon Eastern. You can get us on the DraftKings network from 11 to 2 Eastern. And also at any point, Roku TV, Samsung TV, Google TV, Xumo Play, the DraftKings network online. And also the full show episodes are all on YouTube by 2 p.m. You're going to have all of that and a couple of other cool places where you can find us as soon as the Olympics are over and right before football season.
I kind of want to mess with my dad here. He was complaining earlier about the way U.S. gymnastics men celebrated the bronze. Do you remember how Belgium celebrated third place of the World Cup?
I don't.
They celebrated it with what was hundreds of thousands of people like joining in like a courtyard area, and then the team, as if they won it, was like making speeches like at a parade. I just love
like a king speaking to all his people from a balcony. That's how they celebrate.
That is sad.
The video
sorry.
audience
So
can
sad.
see here. Look at this crowd that gathered for third place.
So sad.
Guys, it was their best ever finish in a World Cup.
Oh my
Let
God.
them have their fun.
That is look at that.
I mean, come on. That's too much fun. I mean, for third place, it's too much fun.
It's a reason to drink more. Come on.
You know, in fairness, the only thing the Belgians are famous for is the waffle. So I kind of get that they threw a parade for a third place.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Juju is the only thing that Belgians are famous for, the waffles.
You know, speaking of Belgium, that's where F1 was this weekend. It's time for
Wow.
our F1 minute.
Look at
Amazing.
that.
Wow. Professional.
Brought to you by Andretti Cadillac. Learn about Andretti's work to join Formula One at AndrettiCadillac.com.
It's the last race before summer break, and Formula One is at Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix. Will Verstappen extend his championship lead? Will Carlos Sainz finally decide where he's driving next year? Will the winner of the race be disqualified hours after it's done? Stay tuned. Verstappen is the fastest to qualify, but he'll take a 10-pace grid penalty and start from P11. It's lights out, away we go as Charles Leclerc leads the pack. But Hamilton's Mercedes is too fast for his future teammate, and he takes the lead. Hamilton is leading in the race. Front runners are opting for a two-stop strategy, except Russell, who decides to roll the dice and go long on his hard set of tires. Piastri is chasing for a podium spot, but he has a slow pit stop, and his Jackman goes flying. With just 8 laps to go, Piastri chases down Leclerc and has his eyes on the Mercedes. Russell has the lead and hasn't taken a second stop, but his tires might run out of juice. Hamilton is right behind him on fresher tires. Will Mercedes give team orders with Piastri right behind Lewis, or let the lads race? It'll be a battle to the finish for the Mercedes, and Russell crosses the line first. Russell pulls off the improbable one-stopper and wins his second race of the season. It's a Mercedes 1-2 finish. But wait!
Faster.
The FIA would like to have a word. George Russell has been disqualified from the Belgian Grand Prix for driving with his car underweight. I just drooled all over myself. It'll be a Lewis Hamilton win. His second of the season.
Yes.
The king is on top again.
Yes. Jackman went flying. Yes, excellent work.
Shocking
there.
left turn in that F1 minute.
Our first drool
Yes.
to accompany the
not
F1
first.
minute. Oh, it's not?
First that I couldn't ignore.
I'm on Belgium.com, and it says the thing that Belgium is most famous for is chocolate, not waffles. How about that?
Put that on the poll as well, Juju. Belgians more famous for chocolate or waffles?
And I would add a third category. One of the best beers in the world is a golden ale from Belgium called Duvel.
Yep.
Duvel.
That's number 3 on Belgium.com. Yes.
It is not.
Yep.
It is not
do you
nearly
mean?
as famous as the other two. It is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing to say.
It's their list. I mean.
All Greg Cote wanted to do there was show you that he knew a Belgian beer. It's
Yeah.
as close to culture as he comes, drinking a beer outside his garage.
It's in my garage refrigerator right now. 4 bottles of Belgium.
With a bunch of Miller Lite.
Yeah. Not
It's
as many as last night.
Yeah, it's actually number 4 on Belgium.com. French fries, number 3.
Really?
Yes.
What about Brussels sprouts?
Not
Oh,
on there.
yeah, I like that. I like that.
Are they famous? Why would
Brussels.
They're just called sprouts over there.
Yeah, they put mayonnaise on fries in Belgium, which is just wrong on
It's
so
so
many
good.
levels.
No,
So many levels.
it's so good.
Ugh.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Boy, I'm knocking it and never going to try it.
Dan's
I
never
can do
looked
both.
more angry.
What?
The only way to make French fries better is to do that.
Mayo?
Yes.
No.
Oh, my
no.
God.
The way to make French fries the best is with Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue. That is the best.
Mayo.
Yes.
You hate to hear it from me, but mayo.
No,
100%.
No.
You just, the only thing a fry wants is a lot of salt. You got to heavily salt the fry, slide it into your maw with nothing on it, no ketchup, no nothing.
You know what we should do? Sorry, Juju. We should remember when you had to stick your hand in the mayonnaise bucket?
Yeah.
We should bring that back and then make you eat French fries out of it.
Let's get this settled with Pablo Torre from Pablo Torre Finds Out because
Who made him the expert on this?
There's just all sorts of blasphemy here. Raw dogging the French fry is the best way to have the French fry. Like that's no good.
A little salt.
That's,
A lot of salt.
Yes,
you gotta have a condiment.
No, you don't want a condiment on fries.
Yeah, no condiments on fries. Salt is the biggest condiment you need on there.
Thank
It's the measure of a good fry, a great fry, Dan. If you don't need anything to make the fry better, that's a good fry. Like McDonald's, you don't need a single thing.
Zagaki.
Yeah.
Pablo,
That's a lie. That is a lie, Stu. A sweet and sour sauce?
Yeah.
Dip your fries into a sweet and sour sauce? My God.
Oh, yeah.
That is the multicultural America that I've been dreaming of.
This guy gets
So if
it.
you get the number 10, the 10-piece nugget, fries, medium Coke, I understand you have the sweet and sour sauce. You might dip a fry in there, and I understand that it's good. I'm just saying it's also good without any single sauce, and that's the measure of a good fry.
the naked fry, man. You
Yep.
guys.
Yeah.
You need
That's how you
something.
watch your figure as well. You pick up all those empty calories, putting out the ketchup and honey mustard.
Oh.
What did Pablo say? Sweet and sour.
Sweet and
Come
sour.
on, man. Get in the gym. Get healthy. Get some abs.
Is a salted fry naked?
Yeah, I think so.
Put that on the poll as well, Juju. Is the salted French fry naked?
It's like pizza. A plain slice determines whether or not pizza is good. If you need to add pepperoni, sausage, meatball, ham, meat lovers, I love a good meat lovers. But if you need to add those things, not a good slice of pizza.
That's fair.
Thank
That's
you.
fair.
What do you mean it's fair to say the French fry's not any good if you put ketchup on it? That's
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Ketchup is the enemy of the French fry.
Of a good French fry.
That's
Yes.
asinine.
Right.
You've never said
An
anything.
enhancer.
You've
Yeah.
never said anything more ridiculous in your life. I almost word association ketchup with French
I
fries.
know.
Like
So
it's-
does most of everybody. It's ridiculous. Ketchup and mayo is worse, but mayo and fries is worse. But ketchup and fries, it's the go-to for so many people. They don't even think before they eat.
How are you so comfortable dismissing the opinions of others when you are totally ignorant on a subject? Like, I've never tried mayonnaise with my French fries. However, it is stupid and
Right.
it can't be good. Like, how is
Here's
it
the
that you're
answer.
so comfortable in that ignorance?
Okay, the answer is that I know very well
Yeah.
mayonnaise. I know it very well. I know this. Mayonnaise is great on a turkey sandwich, not as good on a ham sandwich. There are certain facts about eating, about the kitchen, about culinary skills, and so I don't have to try a French fry with mayonnaise to know that it would be a ghastly fit.
You definitely want to let the ham speak for itself, right?
Ham and mustard
Yeah.
are good partners.
No doubt. Yeah.
But not so much ham and mayonnaise for some reason. I can't really explain it, but I know it.
Yeah. Apologize, Dan. I mean,
What's the last time you remember a combination of foods, Greg, that you hadn't tried before that you ended up liking?
Oh, he's not a trier of learning.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, no.
You've ceased. You have given up on learning.
I'm
Don't
very
tell me you haven't.
experimental in the kitchen.
Greg, you as a grown man,
Baby!
we heard that already.
His
from him.
utensil.
That was from him. He
Right.
said that on air. He was not saying that to just you.
Baby!
Double baby's okay, Dad.
Yeah, damn right it is.
Baby. Triples is
Thank
best.
you. Let's all say it. Baby. Yeah.
Greg did mention, by the way, sliding a fry into your maw recently. Just wanted to flag that as well.
Thank you.
Thing.
He's been using maw as a word comedically since I've known him.
Yeah.
Since he doesn't use mouth, he uses maw more than mouth.
Usually gaping maw.
Yes, but he is right about this. Mustard is reserved for bologna, salami, ham. It is not reserved for turkey. You go mayo with turkey, maybe Thousand Island with roast beef. I mean, it's up to you on roast beef.
I don't agree with anything you guys are saying. Like
No,
literally
mustard
not
like-
a syllable.
Mustard likes the pink meats.
Right.
2 words.
That's definitely a Greg Cote saying
Put
that
it on
Chris
the
picked
poll,
up somewhere.
please. Put it on the poll. Mustard likes
Right.
the big, the pink meats. Well, Cody did do that. A fry likes
The
a
gaping
certain
maws.
amount of salt.
Right. Yes, and turkey loves mayonnaise. They're like this.
Oh, yes.
Louisiana hot sauce, ladies and gentlemen. That tastes good on everything.
You're not lying. I mean, Louisiana, there's so many hot sauces now, right? Everybody has one. Louisiana hot sauce is
Sounds like a back in my
some of
day.
the best. Yeah, it could be.
When are we getting our next back in my day?
Right after the Olympics.
Yeah.
Olympics?
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
These Olympics?
No, the ones in 4 years. No, we're eventually. Like my friend Stephen King says, everything is eventual.
Pablo, your obsession with fencing, it inspired a weird Olympic sports draft around here. I believe we have some more assignments now. Tony has canoe slalom and artistic swimming. We'll get to that when Tony gets back. I think Chris and Jess are fighting over beach volleyball. Who ended up wrestling that away? All right, Jessica's going to give us a beach volleyball update in a second. What sport do you have, Greg?
I have equestrian plus the West African nation of Cote d'Ivoire.
Well, that's not one of the...
Okay.
You
then
just
I'll
drafted a
keep it to
nation?
myself.
It doesn't have to do it. I mean,
Well, they, listen, the Ivory Coast changed its name in 1986 and became a country named in my honor. So if
Well,
you
don't
don't
give
think
it all away, Greg.
If you don't think I'm willing to talk up that country and get all behind it once every 4
But I
years,
asked you
you're
which
wrong.
sport you drafted.
Equestrian.
Told you, yeah.
equestrian.
But then you gave me a country.
Yeah,
All the sports
I
from that
do-
country.
thing, right? in
I
case
do
you need it.
more. I do more than I'm asked to do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my nature.
I want to draft a country. That's not fair.
Well, you got one named Jessica? No, I got one named Cote.
Yep.
So how many back in my days do
Cocaine.
you have then if you do more than what's asked of you?
I'll have one eventually.
Got it.
You know, I've cataloged them. I've done hundreds. In fact, I got a back in my day book coming out fairly soon, like late August, September, October, somewhere around there.
GregCodyBook.com?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
really excited about that. Yeah, thank you.
Always goes the extra mile, Dan.
Yeah,
I mean, you ask for one thing, he brings you two, except the thing that you want.
right.
Yeah.
I go the extra kilometer, which is even longer than a mile, in honor of a European Olympics.
Yeah.
Jessica, are you ready to give us a beach volleyball update of some sort?
I am so ready. Have you guys watched any beach volleyball and seen where the stadium is? Because holy crap, it is right in front of the Eiffel Tower, and it is beautiful. And so far, so good for Team USA. But I thought the biggest revelation so far from USA beach volleyball, Chase Budinger, who used to play in the NBA, is now a beach volleyball player in this Olympics.
Wow.
He's 36 years old. He played in the NBA for 7 or 8 seasons. He's 6'7", and he won his first match against France, who's very good. They won, I think, the last 3 international beach volleyball tournaments. So they beat them yesterday. His partner's name is Evans. I can't remember his first name. Miles Evans, I think, something like that.
This is your area of expertise.
I know, and I
You
completely
have
forgot to
know
write
the
down his first name.
names.
Bob
Yes.
Evans.
Bob Evans, exactly. Again with the waffles.
Like Kid Rock, yeah.
And then
Bob.
Team USA women's beach volleyball. Everyone knows, of course, the legendary Misty May. Where'd my music bed go? Come on. Misty May
Chris
and
Cote.
Carrie Walsh. They're no longer in the Olympics, but we have 2 women's beach volleyball teams that have won their opening matches that are very good. So stay tuned for more. It's still group play, so nothing, no elimination games yet. We're still in it. We're still doing well. And indoor volleyball also is sick. And we lost to China in women's, but they're still very good.
Miles Evans.
I wonder, thank you,
right.
not Bob Evans,
I
Miles
said Miles.
Evans. We also said that the kilometer is longer
Kilometers,
than miles,
Evans.
and I don't think they are.
Is it shorter?
I think they're shorter.
Yeah, I
than
knew it was
miles.
one or the other.
Right, had to be.
He's right.
Yep.
He is right about that. Pablo, do you have any fencing updates for us?
I drafted a new sport for this draft, actually, and the sport is diving. And I want to bring this to your attention because maybe on the internet, you guys saw a video of what has been the most viral Olympic diving moment. And I want to play that for you guys if the video team has got enough time for me
The
filibustering.
guy who landed on his back?
So this is...
Spoilers, Dan.
Oh my God.
I've got to tell the audio audience what is happening.
I think they've seen this. It's the guy that does he jumps off the board, does about 4 or 5 flips, and then backflops into the water.
So this is the Philippines, unfortunately for you, boy. And this is that man going full Amin Al Hassan in a pool. It's been viewed tens of millions of times. At the end of the video, also, if we ever get to it, you can see him just sort of like sadly high-fiving his teammate on the side. The reason I bring this up, though, because it is the most viral Olympic moment, allegedly. What I found out is that this is not from this Olympics, okay? Can we stop making fun of the Philippines? This is the 2015 Southeast Asian Games, and my homeland has been answering for this every Olympics since. They did it in Rio. It wasn't in Rio. They're doing it in Paris. It's not in Paris. It's just that one dude in Singapore 9 years ago. Can we please move on?
I agree with you, Pablo. People need to stop trying to fake everyone into thinking something just happened in these Olympics. That's from years ago. This happened yesterday with Diana Taurasi. A picture of her was going viral with a player from, I think, Japan that was much shorter than her. And I'm pretty sure that picture was from the Tokyo Olympics. But they played Japan yesterday, so it was like going re-viral again. Confusing everyone.
Because no one knows anything about the Olympics, everything is new. And so everything is happening right now. There are a million Olympics and non-Olympics happening in this Olympics, which is cool. I love the Olympics, except it's not the Olympics.
It is delightful the way these things happen now to everybody instead of just me, because I am so scared about what my 80s are going to be like
Dan,
when I'm looking at something that I think is now and they're going to tell me, nope, that was 1989 and it's artificial intelligence.
I was fully convinced that had happened now at 3 straight Olympics, that it was just a different person who just belly flopped
The
differently.
guy just can't get it right.
It's like Jason Derulo falling up the stairs at the Met Gala. Every freaking year we see it again, and people fall for it every time.
Pablo, you are ashamed on behalf of your people?
I'm ashamed on behalf of my people in America who don't have the literacy to know when there's a chyron that says 2015 Southeast Asian Games and think it's still the Olympics. That said, shout out to John Elmerson Fabriga, by the way, that's the other funny part about this. You think that guy made the Olympics, guys? Really? You're like, oh, that guy did that in the Olympics. That screams obscure regional Asian diving championship. It does not say greatest in the world, but I appreciate the credit, I guess, on behalf of my people.
Greg, your equestrian update. You are feeling, do we still have enough music bed there for Greg Cote? This is very cheap music we've gotten.
I love it. It's so dramatic. You know, as the owner of a racehorse, calmly, you can understand why I am excited about equestrian like no other sport at these games. And let me tell you, The sport is being run at the Summer Games' loveliest of locales, the Palace of Versailles, where royalty once reigned, where Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette threw lavish soirees, and where now athlete horses and their riders compete across pristine grounds, breathing with history and elegance. Controversy shook the sport on the eve of the Games, however, when British dressage star Charlotte Dujardin, thrice a winner of gold, withdrew in shame from this Olympiad in scandal when a 4-year-old video surfaced of her not landing on her back in a pool, but whipping a horse during a coaching session. And the American equestrian community had earlier been in shock when Jessica Springsteen, yes, Bruce's daughter, was unexpectedly left off Team USA despite helping the U.S. win silver in team jumping in the previous Olympiad. 4 of 6 medal events are yet to be determined in Paris. Gold thus far has only been awarded in individual team eventing, which combines dressage and jumping with cross-country across a grueling 500-meter course of natural and designed obstacles. Germany's Michael Jung won gold aboard his horse Chipmunk, making history as the first 3-time winner in that event. Great Britain won the team gold, with the U.S. yet to medal in the sport this time. However, Team USA has won 11 golds on a horse, tied for 5th most, and 54 overall, second only to Germany. But America has not been golden on 4 legs since 2008. On a personal note, this correspondent's favorite horse, Sir Greg, ridden by Finland's Vera Manninen, regrettably finished 39th of 64 in the individual competition. Reporting to you 9,000 kilometers from Versailles, I'm Greg Comley.
Hey, that was fantastic. I got to give that one.
Expert. I mean, well done.
Equestrian.
Yeah.
Equestrian. And dressage, by the way. A lot of people
Not
say...
done.
A lot of people say, what is dressage? It's French for training, the word training. And dressage is where the horse responds with quiet little particular skills when barely instructed by the rider.
Try and be with the music there because it's going up and down dramatically.
Orchestra.
I heard the horses don't get medals.
They should, though, right? They give them a carrot.
What?
Yeah.
That's it?
Do the horses have to be from the respective countries as well?
I don't think so, but that's a damn good question.
Juju,
I'm gonna report.
That is
those.
an excellent
Put
question.
those,
Yes.
put those on the poll, Juju, please, at Le Batard Show. Should the horses in equestrian get the medals instead of the human being?
They should both get.
And do the horses have to be from the country of origin, or can they do what Joel Embiid did?
I have top 5 athletes that connote a horse.
Oh, do you really?
I do, yeah.
All right. Juju, are you updated on your water polo information? Are you ready to go on water polo?
Just as soon as I get these 2 polls consecutively back to back, you
All
just
right,
told me to
all
do.
right, well,
Smoke
well,
marijuana.
All right, we'll filibuster here
Can't
with
do everything. Just
with-
one man.
With Stugotz's top 5 athletes who connote horses. OLI or number 5?
Yeah, I have 2 OLIs. Charlie Huff.
That's absurd.
Oh, Greg loves that one
That's
because he came up with it.
It's asinine.
Joe Buck.
OLI, number 5.
Colt McCoy.
Number 4.
Rocky Balboa. The Italian Stallion.
Number 3.
Michael Gallup.
Perfect.
Number 2.
Trot Nixon.
It's a good list.
That's a good one.
Number 1.
Nay Hilario.
He just goes by Nene now.
It's a good list.
Thought he was just gonna have like a horse, like Justin Verlander.
Adam Wainwright.
I have two
Caballo.
suggestions. 1, Jurgen Klopp.
Oh,
Klopp's good.
Ooh, that's
Klopp.
good.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
2,
Klopp.
Clyde Frazier.
Oh, wow.
It's his list.
Yeah. I mean, make one. Go ahead.
Pablo, what is on the latest Pablo Torre finds out that you are here selling us?
Left out Kenny Mayne.
Pablo?
I'm just impressed by this list, honestly. Today's episode is about a 44-year-old state legislator in Ohio who had not pitched for a baseball team, a pro baseball team called the Sioux City Explorers, in 17 years until he got a call one day that he needed to suit up within a period of hours. And this dude, J.D. Schulten, the 44-year-old in question, proceeded to win the game, have the game of his life, is now one of the best starters in this independent minor league in the Midwest. And he's also, again, a sitting state legislator in Iowa who happens to be, I believe, this is my argument, the JD that American politics needs right now. Not JD Vance, JD Scholten, who is anti-monopoly, an actual grassroots politician who says all the things that we need because he's a guy making $1,400 a month playing minor league baseball and is awesome at it, again, at age 44 after not pitching for this team in 17 years. So please go listen to why this man should be listened to.
Bronco Mendenhall.
Oh, wow.
That's a good one.
That was good.
That's very strong. The idea that Hilario doesn't use Hilario anymore and you could have just gone nay.
I know.
I mean, that's
Connor Stallions.
List. Yeah.
Connor Stallions.
Man.
He's got a
I have the
documentary.
Italian Stallion.
Connor Stallions has a documentary coming out on Netflix.
The Italian Stallion was the name of the stripper at my grandma's 50th.
Hold on. I need to hear more about this.
Baby!
Was he actually born in
Out
Italy?
of time.
Yeah, it's too bad.
11-3. USA lost. Water polo.
I found interesting, Stugotz, and I was surprised. Perhaps I should not have been. I was surprised at the reaction, how outsized I thought it was on social media yesterday as a divisive force when I mentioned pretty casually in a conversation about LeBron James and what his excellence has been in the modern age for 20 years of largely unblemished work. I called him today's Ali, and a lot of people really objected to that, which I understand. It's a bit of a rhetorical trick, right? It's impossible to be Ali today. And if you were to be an athlete being Ali today, you would be having to tackle things like Gaza and Ukraine and just an assortment of things that I don't think it's possible for anybody to be Muhammad Ali today. But what I was saying, or what I meant to say, is this is the athlete that America puts in front of everybody for this generation as the representation of our athletic grace, dominance, and excellence. You only get a few of them. Ali was the Ali of his time because of all the political stuff, but Jim Brown and Bill Russell were doing it too. Ali was bigger than them to the world. Michael Jordan came after that. Tom Brady will never be that. I'm talking about generational excellence that holds that flag, and it means something because the excellence holding the flag is less battered than the flag is itself over the last 20 years. And so what I'm saying is that for our time, in this specific time of social media ravage you, and there was no textbook on how to navigate this. Ali Jordan didn't navigate this kind of cruelty where we're going to climb into every crevice of your life, have way too much access to you for you to actually be a myth. You're going to be too human because we're going to change all of the ways that you're covered, and then you're going to look like you pale in comparison to Ali and Jordan when you do not, because you have circumnavigated something over 20 years with uncommon grace. But of course, he is not and can never be, nobody can, politically what Muhammad Ali was.
Impossible standard that he set, but I think the blowback that you're getting when you say that about LeBron is Ali's wife, when LeBron had a chance to do something on an international scale, China, Hong Kong, that whole deal, she said he is not Muhammad Ali.
That's correct.
His wife said that.
And
Right.
he would tell you that he sat that one out in the name of sneaker sales. Again, I'm saying the modern day Ali. Like, it's the
Sure.
important qualifier and diluter
right. Yes.
on the front end, understanding that nobody can be that. I can't say there will be a modern day Jackie Robinson. I'm simply speaking as American icon that you can be proud that he represents your country and your generation, Stugotz, because there are only 3 of them. There are only 3 of them ever. And what I'm saying is he gets the bronze medal in that class. And it's something that should be celebrated instead of disgraced.
Dan, I had the same reaction as some of these folks on social media had. When you said that, it was like, ooh, because you can't, like you said, you can't match up their experiences to that they're reacting from, right? Muhammad Ali went through all this stuff growing up. He experienced these things. He turned to, the Nation of Islam. He taught the teachings of all these things. And LeBron can only do so much as he experienced, can only respond to what he experienced. And I think he is doing that with the schools, with, bringing these young people into probably situations that they couldn't have if they were left to their own devices. But I do think he is lacking in that his voice doesn't always really have the weight to it that you want it to have, right? When Muhammad Ali or somebody of his stature would speak about something, he would take the time, probably do some research, and then come out and say something about it to where you understood, oh, okay, this is a very reasoned human being. He obviously looks at things from different perspectives. I think with LeBron, that's lacking. I'm not saying it needs to be there for the best basketball player we've ever seen. Maybe it's just, it kind of hurts when you hear those two names together because he's nowhere close.
It is a diluted form in the modern age. He has not used his voice as much as I would have liked either, but he's used it more than Tiger and Michael and most of the other people who have been in the role that he's been in, to not sit out the black stuff, to not sit out some of the race stuff. And he's done more than other commercial spokesmen.
But I think that's what Dan is saying. It's impossible to come close to the standard that Ali set and the things that he went through. So modern day, okay, I'm more with you.
But it's not. I'm not even just talking about, though, you have to have the combination of excellence that endures forever and is beyond unassailably all of your peers. I don't know who you go to on second place on who holds that flag with more grace in the modern age among athletes. What's the distant second when I tell you, hey, Tom Brady doesn't represent like this to the world? Not to your country, because in your country, the way he represents is the reaction to that is to make him more polarizing than I ever consider him. I don't think he should be as polarizing as he is. I'm really confused by the number of people who are insistent on diluting his excellence by degrees because they want him to be something better than what he is, which is only better than any of you are at anything, any people criticizing him for what he is. None of you are as good at what you do as he is at what he does. That is, I can go across the globe on his critics, and I will find not a one, Stugotz, who can say they are as good at anything they do as he is at what he did.
I'm curious, Dan, do you remember the criticism of Jordan being as loud as you hear it for LeBron?
What I remember first is ball hog on him, and then after that, I heard a lot of why doesn't he use his power for anything other than selling sneakers?
Yeah, and because Republicans buy sneakers too.
Well, it was just that's as loud as selling out will ever be articulated by somebody in that position. Like, right. That is the very definition of, if you buy my sneakers, I will not use my power. That's what Michael Jordan got plenty of that. But I will tell you that the people not doing that his choice there, the reason he gets to be the icon that he is because there was no social media for those people to continue to tear him down. So you would hear everybody saying it, because it was not the media that was saying that about Michael Jordan. Like, that would have been a whole lot of people saying, why doesn't he use his power in a better way? But this is why I say what LeBron navigated in these 20 years of we're always watching you and we're always there to criticize with cruelty is not something that existed before him.
Well, second place, because you asked the question, is on his own team, I think, Steph Curry. Steph Curry is that superstar who has come up without any faults, without any controversies. He also says nothing. He says nothing when it comes to the controversial subjects. He says nothing when you talk to him about, anything sort of negative ties to his church in North Carolina. He just doesn't say. He says what sounds like the right things, but he stays neutral right down the middle because he knows. And this is the thing about LeBron is if we, those critics, whomever you speak of, want him to be whoever it is, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or this very loud, outspoken person, they're just going to scream louder at him. They're going to disagree with his opinions, and they're going to make him seem more of a negative product, more of a negative result because of what he is saying, as opposed, they'd probably just tell him to shut up because you're dividing people. So playing it down the middle is one thing, but the thing I think, again, with LeBron is it doesn't seem like he's invested in a lot of these topics, and yet he's willing to answer them. And I think the best possible one or example of that was the China question. He sat in front of a microphone, he answered it. It was cringeworthy, and it was bad.
Also
and I think,
selling out, yes.
Yeah, and I think everybody will always hold everything he says and compare it to that. Is anything as good that he has said or done as cringeworthy as that was?
I admire LeBron on a lot of different levels, and he's not perfect, but this is a guy, when he's a teenager, they're calling him King James, and ESPN is televising his high school games. And he doesn't live up to expectations. He exceeds them. And he still is doing that at age 40 in the NBA and in Paris. And off the court, I think he has said plenty. I think he's stood up on societal and social issues dating way back to Trayvon Martin down here in Miami, or when he was in Miami. Izzy rightly gave flowers to the school he founded in Akron. What athlete does that? And it's thriving, and it's important. And I think he's done plenty on and off the court. He doesn't have to be Muhammad Ali to be admired.
The part that I'm confused by, I really am.
J.J. Barea?
The part, other than J.J. Barea, the part that confuses me is that we would live in an ecosystem where being the fourth best of all time makes people scream at each other about, well, he's not Kobe, or like, I just don't understand the screaming at each other that diminishes his excellence because we need to put him fourth instead of second. Like, I don't know.
Get you tinfoil.
I'll go the rest of my life without understanding it. Why the need to put the bar in a place where you have to put somebody and tear them down from second place to fifth place because what?
Well, I think people are starving for someone who was like Muhammad Ali, an athlete that is willing to say anything about anything, whether it's here in the United States or internationally. And I think people view LeBron James as one of the guys who could do that. If he got himself informed that he didn't care about selling sneakers, and he decided not to, and that was disappointing to people, Dan.
Stugotz, in terms of the power that gets squandered here, I agree with John Amici when he says, you tell me if you think this is wrong, that the power that LeBron James has, if he dedicated himself maniacally to ending world hunger, he could.
I mean, first of all, tell me something John Amici says that I don't agree with. All right, that's going to be the more difficult one. But yeah, I think with LeBron, I just look. Does he want to be this person? I don't think so. I think we see him more so even than Michael. He cares about what people think about him. He did not like all the booing. He wants to stay as neutral as possible on these subjects while he's playing, at least. After he plays, who knows? Maybe he lets out some more, political opinions, but as of now, he seems to be doing it the right way. And whether you say, other athletes will take that sort of a sacrifice and give up a little bit of their career, a little bit of their fandom just for these purposes, maybe he thinks there's plenty of time because 40, not that old.
In terms of ending world hunger, I get what you're saying, but so could Taylor Swift. So could Beyonce. So could Elon Musk. So could Bill Gates. I mean, it just takes money and a voice, and he has the voice more than the money, LeBron James. But I'm not going to fault him because he's not ending world hunger. You know what I'm saying?
Put it on the poll, Juju. Do you fault LeBron James because he's not ending world hunger?
It's a lot to put on someone. I mean, he's just one man.
Understood.
Dan, you really like that photo, didn't you?
Seems
like that photo has brought out so much in you.
I think the most important part of this is to remember, comparison is the thief of joy. And we're robbing ourselves an opportunity to celebrate this man because we keep comparing him to what people are so sensitive about. If we can just try to just put down the phones, put down your Twitter fingers, and let's just applaud LeBron for what he's actually doing.
Like right now?
Okay. I mean, yeah.
There you go.
Izzy.
Don't celebrate too much. Don't celebrate too much. He hasn't won the gold yet.
That's
right. True that.
That's
true
right.
That.
Thank you, Jessica, for that proper bit of perspective. It's not the photo, Izzy. It's that I don't believe that we get very many chances in real time to appreciate history while we're a part of it. And I'm the thing that actually got my attention on this was seeing and hearing Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony on their podcast sort of try and reframe how their careers could have gone if they'd made different choices, while the guy is still playing out there and they're well behind him, and they're the greatest I've seen. Like
On
they're
the Olympic team.
They're among the greatest I've seen. And because we've spent the last 20 years comparing him to the ghost of Michael Jordan, it just illustrates again and again that he has no peers. He's got no peers in the modern age, and I'd like that history appreciated now. We didn't allow Ali and Jordan this while they were coming up doing it. We only gave it to Michael after he won 6 in a row.
I think LeBron is the only reason I don't feel really old, because he's still in the league. Like 2012 feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to this earlier, and I failed to get to it earlier. So let me get to the expertise of Izzy Gutierrez and Greg Cote as it comes to the Dolphins, at least telling us publicly we have a quarterback for the next 4 years. We have been talking about the price tag on that for a while. I really thought it was unusual the way that the money became so important that Tua himself is going to a microphone and chanting to the crowd,
So weird.
"Show me the money."
Really
Like,
weird.
Athletes are so much better at hiding that usually, not saying the quiet part out loud, pretending that they care about other things more than that.
It's also going to be used against him if he plays poorly.
Oh,
I
dude,
mean,
that's
He's coming off of what? I mean, he's making $23 million or something. It's not like he went from a minimum contract to fit. He was making, 8 figures already. That was kind of cringeworthy and a little shocking. And it kind of, what my whole take on the Tua thing is, now we're going to know exactly what type of winning personality you have. Like, they showed a lot of his personality in Hard Knocks, and he's likable, lovable at times, but is he a guy that somebody's going to follow at this level? Because now all the pressure's on him.
He's a little goofy. He was way too excited about Christmas gifts.
Way too
The
excited.
Secret Santa, way too into the
Yeah,
Secret Santa.
Yeah, he didn't serve himself well by chanting, "Show me the money."
how about you show me a playoff win?
Well, here's the thing. And when it says all the pressure is on him, okay, it's a pretty small sample, but he hasn't won in the playoffs. Granted, he's only been one of the 2 losses in the playoffs in his time. The Dolphins have lost 10 of the last 13 games in the past 2 regular seasons and playoffs, which is why they ended up blowing the East title and had to play a road playoff game. All of that
That's
is
a great stat, by the way. The last 2 years, they're 3-10 down the stretch.
Yes, and all of them, to some extent, are on Tua. He's been injured for some of those 2 years ago, but still, all of the pressure is on him now. All of the money is on him, and all of the pressure is on him. But the contract is better and better the more I hear about it. Okay, only $93 million of that total guaranteed money is fully guaranteed. That's 44% of the total. His salary cap, I hate the phrase salary cap because I usually don't delve this deeply into it. His salary cap hit, the contract was structured, is only $9.5 million this year, which means they can sign another guard, they can sign a defensive tackle, they can extend Javon Holland, they can rework Tyreek Hill. Chris Greer did a masterful job. It took too long to do it, but he did a great job with this contract in a way that works for both parties, the team and Tua.
You say it works for both parties, and I just want to ask this because I know that you celebrate this. You've been behind the Chiefs. Everyone's behind the Chiefs. You lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs last year, and their quarterback's cheaper. Do what with that? Their quarterback is cheaper. They have better value at quarterback than not just a better quarterback, they've got better value at quarterback. We're all doing salary cap games. We're all experts on it's fine that the Dolphins are the only team in the league that has 3 players on offense who are all guaranteed $70 million. How can that possibly come back to hurt anybody? The reason that he's this good, we agree, right? Is system and those 2 receivers, correct? Those
That's
2.
a big part of it, and a great running game, certainly.
System.
But this is the system he's in. In other words, if he's a free agent, I agree with what Mina Kimes said on this show. If he's a free agent, he's not probably as valuable. But he's in this system where he is the perfect fit. So you have to pay him in an exploding quarterback market that all of a sudden has the best quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, as maybe the 5th highest paid player.
My question to you is, you were behind Kansas City before this, when you had value at quarterback. How are you ahead of Kansas City?
And guys on defense, by the way.
But let's just isolate it here. The best window that they had to do all of this is when Tua was cheap. in a down year for Kansas City, after they had to pay their quarterback and lose the piece that Tua's eventually going to lose, lost Tyreek Hill because they had to pay Patrick Mahomes. That's how it happened. That happened to them, and you were behind them. You went to Kansas City, you lost to them. Now you don't have the advantages of having value at quarterback. Now you have a quarterback that you have to pay more than Patrick Mahomes is making. What do you do with that when you're not a player away and not a game away? When the championship runs through that quarterback every time and you're still behind them, and now it's more expensive to be behind them?
I don't have an answer for that, and I don't think the Dolphins do right now. You know, I'm not going to make excuses. Although there are a couple of reasons why they faded late. Two of their best defensive players were out with late season really bad injuries from which they haven't recovered yet. Neither has played in this training camp. So injuries were a factor. But I have no other excuse for this team.
Greg, I
excuse.
I have to trust the coach who swears this is the perfect, and he's a great coach, and he's a smart guy, who swears this quarterback is the best quarterback for his offense. He told us that before he even got started with this quarterback.
Right.
And now he has seen him for 2 years, and in 2 years, 54 touchdowns and 22 interceptions. That guy is going to get paid. He's going to get paid what Tua just got paid. And if you're McDaniel, you think to yourself, what's the team that has given the Chiefs problems over the years? It's been the Bengals with Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. I have Tua, I have Hill, I have Waddle. We could beat them one-game scenario.
Yes,
this is
I
why
agree.
they're in the sort of the comparisons, right? When you first get drafted as a quarterback, who do you get compared to? The people you got drafted with, right? And then those same people are likely, maybe one or year apart, are going to be getting new contracts the same year as you get the new contracts. And so those are the ones you compare them to. The Patrick Mahomes problem I have is he has already separated himself. When his contract, whenever that's up, he's going to get whatever the heck he wants. He's going to be, should be the highest paid player in the game. What we are now doing is trusting, okay, hey, Mike McDaniel, if you say your system and those two receivers can then turn Tua into something close to where he's valuable at that number, then okay, we're good. The problem is we have not seen it. We've seen 1 year where he got a little bigger and led the league in passing, but to me, I see a bunch of, passes that are thrown pretty high. Receivers got to go up and get it. If you would maybe hit them in stride, maybe have more yards. Like, there's still things you can be critical of Tua.
Yes.
Do I think that automatically he is even 2 years of improvement good enough to win a Super Bowl? I don't think so yet. I don't know. And that's why the number is what it means. So it doesn't matter where he's slotted to me. It just means, hey, was he worth this commitment, period? It didn't matter what number was. It's just if he is in this group, do we commit to this guy? Do we feel like he can win us a Super Bowl?
It's amazing how polarizing he is as a quarterback. I heard this on ESPN last night, guys discussing this. Why aren't we making a stink about Jordan Love's contract?
Well, some people are. Some people are surprised at the amount of money that he got.
I mean, the reason is, correct me if I'm wrong, the last time we saw Jordan Love, they were crushing Dallas,
It's a smaller sample size,
in a playoff
and he was
game.
impressive.
Right. Yes.
And so people fall in love right away.
But he won a playoff game on the road, right?
It's not just Jordan Love either. To your point, quarterbacks you don't think of as $50 million a year quarterbacks have gotten those deals.
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff. I mean, you don't have to be Patrick Mahomes now to command that kind of echelon in salary. That's just the fact. That's just the way the NFL is right now.
I think the difference is with a guy like Tua, you pay that money, you say, okay, with Mike McDaniel, with Tyreek Hill, he can get us one. With Patrick Mahomes, it's every year you say we can win the Super Bowl this year.
Well, but that's what
with any receivers. Right.
No, but that's what the 8 games of Jordan Love was, though, because it ain't anybody out here saying that what they did in Dallas was because of anybody other than Jordan Love. Like, it's not. This is the thing that happens with Tua that doesn't happen with Jordan Love. If I tell you right now, take away some of these weapons. Now, what do you have? I think you're going to get a lot more doubt right now for Tua than you're going to get for Jordan Love.
Jordan Love was doing it with Romeo Doubs.
Yeah,
right.
And he's doing it in cold weather, and you see him do it outside of the pocket. With Tua, you have questions about him outside of the pocket, in cold weather. For Tua, it all has to be perfect. 3-step drop, get it out. And if it's not that, he becomes an average quarterback. So that's the difference.
I'll give you the movement, right? He's not great out of the pocket.
He's bad out of the pocket.
Maybe he's better at that now. That he's got lost a little bit of weight. Wow.
It's his accuracy, though,
But it's
is
that
bad out
offensive
of the pocket.
line. He doesn't have the same offensive line Jordan Love does. Jordan Love can be comfortable back there. Tua has not only uncomfortable from the beginning, but then had 2 head injuries, and now is back, had a year where he can get some comfort back there, but he does not have the time that Jordan Love has.
That's overstated, I think. I think the offensive line the last couple of years has been fine. Like a few years ago, it was really bad.
Fine for 2 seconds.
We got Armstead right. It's not great, but when Armstead plays and Connor Williams was in there, the offensive line has been fine the last couple of years.
Well, the quick release is for a reason. It's to protect Tua.
Yes.
And it's because the offensive line is untrustworthy.
But it's funny because in the second playoff game, the last thing we saw from Jordan Love was at San Francisco in a game in which they could have won. They were down 24-21. He threw an interception on the last play.
Okay,
and it was a bad one.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that should be how we define all quarterbacks. The last pass they threw. I believe we should agree. All of us should agree that if your last pass loses the game, you shouldn't get $55 million. That seems like a fair appraisal. Just the last thing all of us saw.
Put it in the CBA.
I want to get back to something that Cody said all of last week that actually offended me, and it took me a week to realize how offensive it was. You said that no disrespect to Michael Phelps, but he can't be the #1 athlete in the history of American athletics if he's only in a sport that I give a shit about once every 4 years.
Right.
Your narcissism has never been more on display than saying an athlete can't be greater if he's not great when you're watching because you don't watch all the other times he's competing outside of those 2 weeks that made him great to get to those 2 weeks.
Well, I'm representing all of sports fans, and in this case, all of American sports fans. I am the spokesman for the American sports fan, okay?
Yep.
You can't be in a fringe sport, meaning cricket. You know, cricket is played in the United States, but if you're the best cricket player in the United States, you can't be the best ever, even if you're the best in that sport.
He is right.
You know, swimming is we as a country, not just me, care intimately about swimming once every 4 years.
Pick a stroke, am I right?
Yeah. Butterfly.
Get to the other side of the pool as fast as possible. Why do I have to do it now like a butterfly?
That's a good point.
Greg, you are saying.
What are you watching swim meets on regularly? You over there?
It's not.
He just said he doesn't even swim. It sinks like a rock.
The 200 fly in Dallas every year. I mean,
it is not that I am watching all swimming meets. It's that the narcissism involved in saying that an athlete can only be great if you happen to be watching. It's not even you happen to be watching. If you happen to deign to care enough as a lazy person who doesn't care about anything. To not understand how that person competed in all sorts of world-class races for 4 years before getting to the 2 weeks you gave a shit about.
We weren't watching then.
No, that's fair.
You know, you got to perform when we're watching. And I'm not speaking just for myself. Again, I represent all American sports fans. You know, what's he doing the rest of those for 3 years and 50 weeks? What's he doing?
He doesn't get it. I mean,
being great at what he does.
Prove it. It's not on TV.
Yeah, he could be taking three and a half years off, and then he starts training just for 6 months before the
all
Olympics.
muscle memory, right, Greg?
It is on TV. It's just not TV you're watching.
Then it's pressure-free. We're not watching.
You're watching the CBS Sports Network.
Not Stugotz. Stop making this about how much swimming I'm watching. I'm not watching a lot of swimming. You have not boxed me in
Let's
on
open
anything.
up the phone lines. All the swimming fans across the country, give us a call. Give us the expertise.
Yes.
Non-Olympic expertise.
Yeah.
How are you so comfortable tearing down the greatness of others as if your greatness is such an amazing greatness?
First of all, I didn't say that. Second of all, when you begin the sentence with all due respect, you know, you're allowed to be critical.
Yeah.
You know, with all due respect, a bronze medal is pretty great, but it ain't gold.
Yep.
So don't act like it is.
All due respect is usually followed with a lack of respect.
I feel like it's almost the opposite. You can almost guarantee if someone has started a phrase with all due respect that what's coming after that is not respectful.
So end it.
Yeah.
End it with the phrase all due respect.
We're correct on this, right? This is not. Does it not put an antenna up for you when someone says with all due respect? They're warning you that disrespect is on the way. It's almost.
It's right around the corner.
It's almost. I don't know that there's another phrase like this in the American language that that allows us to arrive where you're on guard now for
No
this
offense.
person is
No
gonna.
No offense is good.
No offense.
Yeah.
You're
Offense
wrong,
is
Dan.
coming, right?
No
No, with all
offense.
due respect, you have to take a second and you have to take in the respect. You have to let it sink in so that when the other half of the statement comes, you're not as hurt, right? So, with all due respect, Greg, and then you just give a long pause and just let them sort of feel good about it, and then you give them the bad news, and then they're just neutral again.
Right. Or you could be like incredibly accurate and say, with all minimal respect, or with all partial respect. But it just doesn't flow like with all due respect.
Right.
So you got to say due, even though you mean partial.
Which one's better as a threat that the opposite is coming? No offense, or with all due respect? Which one for you guys brings up the possibility that what is coming here I really need to be alert about because it's possibly offense and disrespect?
Yeah.
With
It's
all
definitely
due
no
respect.
offense.
Really?
It's no
Wow.
offense.
I
Because
think
you're
it's no
about to
offense.
tell me something that I know I'm not going to like, but I have to be okay with it. No offense. I can't hold offense.
Yeah, it's a fine line, but I would rather be disrespected than offended.
No offense is used way more often, though. Like, people are more likely to
More
bust out
efficient,
no
though.
offense.
Yeah.
It's just like, no offense, blah, blah, blah. Where it's like, the other one is like, they are building up. And
Let's
I
try
know
this.
something's
Let's-
coming.
No offense, Stugotz. This camera angle is not great for you.
Okay, now try it the other
With
way.
all due respect, this is not a great camera angle for you.
See? No offense hurts more.
Let me hear no offense again.
No offense, Stugotz. This is not a good camera
That
angle
hurt.
for you.
Yeah, that hurt. Yeah, that's hurtful.
It hurts more.
I just pulled out a
Take it
random
back.
example. By the way, that
Take it
wasn't
back.
something that I
Right.
had previously ever
Yes.
thought about.
Because you're saying on the front end that you have a modicum of respect, even though I know you don't. But I mean,
Well, I think the syllable count here on with all due respect brings us very slowly to the understanding a threat is coming. No offense happens too fast. No offense doesn't give me the warning I need, the cadence I need to
Yes.
prepare for the offense. But I do believe that you're right. When you say no offense to somebody, that I'm going to be offended, I believe is a stronger feeling than the feeling of a warning of disrespect.
Yes.
But I'm going to be offended by disrespect as well, am I not? Am I not also going to be offended?
We are
by
in the
normally they respect you.
Yeah.
It's with all due respect.
Right.
But not this time.
Let's see if I'm doing this right. All right,
yes,
Greg?
Yeah.
With all due respect, you are the greatest columnist in Miami Herald history.
No, go
That's
sit in
not
the
right?
go sit in the
You
penalty
said something
box.
nice.
Go
Yeah,
sit
you
in the
said
penalty
something
box.
nice.
You don't.
Is that gonna
you're
get me
not-
to
With
your
all
party?
due respect,
You don't know how to
you're the
With all
worst.
due respect,
Yes,
Greg,
yes, yes.
there's been better columnists.
That's fair.
No offense, Greg,
No,
but
that's
there's
fair.
been better
Right.
columnists.
Right.
Which one hurts more, though?
When you say with all due respect, you got to wrap the disrespect in velvet. It has to be, you know what I mean?
I'm torn on this.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth.
The reason I'm torn. This is the reason I'm torn. You're on the front end, taking away my ability to be offended because you're nuking me on the front end by saying no offense, and now you're saying that you don't intend an offense, and if I get offended, I'm in the wrong. You're placing this on my lap.
No offense, I prefer Carl Hyacin.
Okay. So do I.
Now make it Dave Hyde.
With all due respect, Dave Hyde, he has better takes.
Yeah, we'll disagree on that. But with all due respect, you normally have a good opinion.
That was a good one.
He plays this game correctly. How does Izzy play it so poorly? I don't understand.
That was really bad by him,
I
yeah.
don't understand. He did it with such confidence.
With all
too.
due respect, you're a great columnist. He
Yeah,
should sit
that's-
there forever, is he?
I know.
Forgive me for wandering too far from this. I have failed both myself and the audience. In talking earlier about Connor Stallions and his documentary on Netflix, which I still have not gotten the opinions of the group on, I need more information on Jessica's. You said it was your grandmother at her 50th birthday
yes.
had a stripper called the Italian Stallion. Is this secondhand information? Did you happen to be there? Can you give us some more information on this?
Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of photos and videos from it.
And it was the Italian Stallion, a young man? Did he pop out from a birthday cake? Like what? Did he just knock on the door in a Speedo?
Or was it a horse?
All right.
It was a man. My grandma thought it was one of my uncle. the look that
was
Dan
that?
just gave you was.
Happy birthday!
This is where he starts.
Nay, nay.
This is what happens.
Nay, nay.
We've got about 2 hours of Greg
Wasn't
Cote.
Jaden Vance's birthday.
This is what happens. This is what, as
My
he gets
grandma
older.
thought this man was one of her son's friends because he looked like, all the Italian cousins in our family. And then he started taking his clothes off, and then she grabbed his ass, and she talks about it every time I see her. It's like a horrifying thing. She's probably, I hope she's not listening to this. God.
Can we get the sound of Grandma Jessica being happy about getting flowers at home? Because there's something about this enthusiasm being around a 50-year-old exotic dancer that is something that I want to summon. Greg, what has been happening to you lately? Do you notice that once we get past 2 hours in on a live show on Tuesday lately, you get a little more delirious? Like you're doing your own show with more and more nonsense just spewing that you don't give any thought to? Have you noticed that that's happening?
The visual of a stripper being an actual stallion, a horse,
Right.
At a party for a 50-year-old woman is funny. It's the Italian Stallion, literally. But no, to answer your question, I am not delirious. I'm as sharp as a carpet tack, and I feel fine.
How does that work? You have the horse coming in on 2 legs, dressed in something, wearing pants. Like, how does this whole thing work? Or is it just a horse being nude and not stripping, like taking off its saddle?
Yeah. A horse wearing pants would be really, really frightening to look at.
Would he be wearing pants on all 4 legs or just the back legs?
He's wearing a full suit, and then he disrobes himself. No, the horse is en natural, as most horses are. It saunters into the party, and then it starts, getting a little naughty.
It's naked coming
making
in.
moves.
Like a centaur?
Yeah, right. Like a centaur almost.
I think if you agitate horses, they can actually get aggressive and humpy.
Oh, my God.
It would be dangerous.
I was in St. Louis once on a junior college
Where's this
field
going?
trip. No, we were in St. Louis, and they took us, we happened by the Clydesdales in the Budweiser plant, and I saw an aroused Clydesdale. And I don't even want to go into details at the sight of what I saw. But let's
No
put it-
disrespect, Greg, but you don't have to finish this damn sentence,
Okay.
brother. No disrespect.
We know what you saw.
We'll all use our imaginations, but the point I'm making is a horse as a stripper in that role is not the strangest thing you've ever heard of. Let's leave it at that.
With all due respect, please continue.
Yeah, no disrespect meant. No offense meant either. Even though I just offended people.
To be clear,
Yeah.
it's just I want to understand everything that just happened
Boom,
here.
chicka, boom, boom. That's what I'm talking about.
Baby!
Yeah, thank you.
Jessica's grandmother opens a door,
Right.
and what is standing in front of her on two legs, 2 legs for her birthday,
Right.
Or 3.
is not merely a horse not wearing pants, because you said au natural, which means no saddle either.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Aroused.
Yes.
Also aroused.
Yeah.
That's the image you wanted to conjure for us.
Yes. Fully engaged, fully engorged.
And you're not delirious.
Right.
You're fine. Sharp as a carpet tack.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Holy crap!
Our friend Ron Magill is here. Again, I suggest to you, if you want to give to his charity, I promise you that it goes straight to helping the animals, and your money will be used maximum efficiently by somebody who knows all of the people who care about animals the right way. His substantive endowment, you could just check it out on Google if you want to help Ron Magill out, help the animals. Greg Cote, the last time he was here, Ron, he did not do this in front of you because he's not brave that way, but he was questioning your story from Africa and how close you were to actually dying. He doesn't believe that that was a thing that was as real as it seemed. I don't want to speak for him, but if you want to confront him to his face, here he is right now, Greg Cote.
I wouldn't call it a confrontation, but it's true that until I heard this with my own ears, it was hard. It was a buffalo, right?
Buffalo, Cape Buffalo, yeah.
And I heard about it rampaging through a tent or something like that. And
it did go through the tent.
And I wonder, can you just tell the story again for myself and those?
Wait a minute, that's not a confrontation. I mean, he can tell the story again, but you were questioning the story.
I found it hard to believe that Ron Magill, after a distinguished long career confronting wildlife, that this was the most danger he's ever felt. I want to hear that with my own ears.
Well, it was close to the most danger. I think I told you about the time with the elephant in the Ngorongoro crater and the hippo on the Nile River. Those are my top three. But
so this is third. This is the bronze medal.
No, this isn't third. This would be
no reason to brag.
Tied for first. This would be tied for first.
Okay.
Tied for first.
But you have to put them in order.
Right. Well done, Ron.
Gold, silver, bronze.
All right,
You got to put them
wait
in
a
order.
minute. All right, so now we've got to rehear all three stories, and you have to pick a 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Tell the elephant story again.
I was doing a study on elephants in must, which is male elephants that are at the peak of their hormonal drive, where they're very unpredictable, very dangerous. You've seen these elephant attacks, so quote-unquote attacks, where they go after trucks and things like that. That happened to me. I was down in the bottom of the Ngorongoro crater. I was photographing an elephant in must from a safe distance. We always turn the engine off when we're photographing. We don't want the vibration of the truck, not just to shake the camera to make a fuzzy picture, but also not to disturb the animal. So we turned the truck off, and I'm photographing this elephant. And then all of a sudden, I realized he saw me, didn't really like me being there, and started coming after me. I told the driver, "Okay, let's go." We had a safe enough distance where you can get away. He went to start the engine, and the battery was dead. So we couldn't go. I knew this elephant was coming. I continued to photograph him as he came at the truck. When he got to the truck, for those of you that are familiar with these vehicles, they are open the top. It's a Toyota Land Cruiser with an open top, where I was standing on the seat taking photographs through the top of the roof. I then went down on the bottom of the truck and held on to the bottom of the seats, anchored to the floor of the truck. The elephant came up to the truck, put his tusk under the truck, and started to try to tip it over. He was rocking it back and forth. It was rocking back and forth off its wheels, but it didn't tip all the way over. He then stopped doing that, and as I'm still holding on, praying for my life at the bottom, I realized a whole big shadow came over me. This elephant was so large, he literally stood over the top of the Land Cruiser and looked down at me. I actually got a picture of him actually doing that. And then his trunk came over the top, and I'm just holding on as I'm thinking he's just going to grab me, pull me out of the truck, and whip me around like a wet rag. And his trunk came and actually touched the top of my head and just kind of went.
Oh, he
Little
booped
kiss.
you.
And no, that's not a that's more like I'm really soiling my pants. And then all of a sudden he stopped doing that, and I'm just waiting. I'm thinking, God, what's he gonna do? And then I felt the sunlight on my face again. I looked up, and he was gone, and he was just walking away. So I don't know what happened there. The difference between this and the buffalo is that the buffalo would not have stopped if he had gotten to me, or she. It was a female buffalo, actually. We were walking down at nighttime. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to each tent with our guide to wake everybody up to get ready to get on the game drive. It's dark, and there's very little light in the camp area, and it's an open camp, so animals are coming through all the time. Dan can testify. I was walking with Dan and his wife Valerie as we were heading back and there's a big elephant literally right there in the walkway. And we looked at it and said, "Okay, Dan, let's just back off. Everything was fine." The thing flared out its ears, put out the trunk, and basically telling us, "That's enough. Don't get any closer." And we backed off. So Dan can, verify that these animals are in camp. They are in camp. So we're looking for this buffalo. We weren't looking for the buffalo. We're looking to make sure there aren't any buffalo, and we missed this one. A lot of times we depend on the eye shine. We're using a flashlight because the eye shine will show up right away. It comes out like a flashing light. But this buffalo was asleep, so her eyes were closed. And we came around the corner. She was asleep behind the bush, and we startled her. She startled us. She got up, snorted, and charged right at us. We were about 15, 20 feet away from the tent that we were going to wake up guests of ours. And we used our flashlights. And Matt, who was the guide with me, actually used the flashlight better than I did because I was a little bit more tense than he was. But we used the flashlights kind of like a matador uses a cape to say, here, come this way. And he charged the flashlight. At the very last second, we dropped the flashlights right in front of where the tent was, go to the side, and it charged the tent. It ripped through the tent. Its head, its horns went through the tent, knocked all the furniture off in there. One of our guests, the wife of one of our guests was in bed. She's screaming. I'm yelling to please be quiet, quiet. And the other guest was actually sitting on the toilet at the time. So basically he probably finished what he was doing very quickly.
Horrifying.
Holy crap.
Listen, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making any of this stuff up. Fortunately, the buffalo decided to go to the right instead of the left. If it had gone to the left, we would have been totally exposed. And I'm pretty certain it would have severely injured, if not worse, to both of us.
All right, tell us a third story, and then I will award the medals.
And stop calling them tents. I mean, enough.
I was photographing river hippos in the Nile River, and I wanted to get a different perspective of the hippos. So instead of shooting them from land out into the water, I went out into the water in a little motorized canoe and was getting low down in the water to try to get that perspective of the land behind the hippo with the water. Hippos, generally speaking, give us a system of body language to tell you that they're not very happy with your presence. It starts with them kind of, raising their body a little bit out of the water. The next one will be they kind of raise their head out of the water. The next one will be they yawn really loudly. Okay, when I say loudly, they're widely. They open their mouths very wide and they present those massive tusks. That's the last threat. And then they'll vocalize. So there's usually 3 or 4 steps before they actually will charge. Well, I was photographing this one hippo. I'm down looking through the eyepiece of my camera, and I'm photographing, and this hippo decided to skip steps 1 through 3 and just lunged at me like a killer whale out of the water. And this hippo was coming to get us. Fortunately, my guide had the motor on the canoe and zoomed away, but that hippo was porpoising after us and got to as close to within about, I would say, 15, 20 feet. Now, you say 15, 20 feet is a long way. It's not a long way when you're in a little dugout canoe with a little engine on it and a massive hippo is coming out of the water after you. Fortunately, we got away. I was able to get one of my favorite photographs of all time. I'll send it to you guys for the next show so you can see it. It's the very moment that hippo lunged out of the water at me. I wish I could say I was as good a photographer that I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to get this picture. Boom, I took it. No, I didn't even realize I took it. What happened was that damn hippo scared the shit out of me. And when it lunged out of the water, I must have tensed up and pressed the shutter by accident, and the camera did all the work.
Choked.
So it was one of those things where it was a photograph by accident, but it's still one of my favorites.
All right. Crap. The bronze medal goes to the elephant.
You're crazy.
The silver medal goes to the buffalo.
Huh.
The gold medal goes to the hippopotamus.
Wow.
No, I have to disagree with you. I was there.
You put the
You just had him tied for first.
Ron,
I mean,
you're
Judge
wrong.
ruled.
You're wrong. Forgive me, but Greg Cote loves when his ignorance is right. He was not there. He knows nothing. He's more right than you. That's his move. What are your rankings, Ron?
My ranking is I've got to go tie elephant and buffalo and then the hippo.
No ties.
Yeah.
Okay, no ties. Then I'm gonna go with the buffalo because the buffalo would have killed us. The elephant had the opportunity to do that. It did not, even though it scared the bejeebers out of me. The elephant could have killed me. It chose not to. That buffalo would not have chosen to ignore me had it gotten to me. It would have killed me. So the buffalo's number 1, elephant's number 2, hippo's number 3.
Okay. Sounds like recency bias.
Yeah.
Listen, in all fairness, Greg, I will tell you that on this trip, Dan did call me Wrong McGill. Not Ron McGill, but Wrong.
Wow.
I did
How about Buffalo? They finally won something. I mean,
Jessica, what do you have for Wrong McGill?
There's nothing wrong with a bronze. First of all, just want to appropriately celebrate the bronze medal winner. Ron, I've been watching a lot of the Olympics, and there's surfing in Tahiti. How great is the threat of a shark attack at a surfing event like this?
I mean, it exists, Jessica, but it's not a great threat. It's the same threat of saying, listen, you have a threat of getting hit by a car if you're crossing the street. It depends what street you're on and where you're crossing. But the bottom line is sharks are there. So the threat, of course, exists. But the bottom line is how many surfers have been surfing out there for how long and how many shark attacks have there been? So when you put those numbers in perspective, the likelihood is very, very little.
Hey, Wrong. I've recently seen those posters, right? Those missing animals posters where it's a bird, right? You've seen those and you just crack up. It's like, oh, you got to find the bird. So I was at my partner's cousin's house the other day, and they have a couple of birds. And apparently one of them, soon after it could fly away, after, the wings grew back, it flew away. And this person put out posters, and it just so happens that this bird was nearby a friend's house. That friend found a way to capture the bird, brought it back to the proper owners. And so my question is this bird pissed off that the one place it landed happened to be friends with its owner and is now back in a cage?
No, on the contrary, the bird, the fact that it was able to be caught will tell you that it is in fact habituated to human beings. That bird being a pet depends on humans for food. It probably flew away thinking, oh, this is going to be paradise, and said, hey, wait a minute, where's all the food I'm used to getting for free given to me on a silver platter as if I'm in a catering place here? these animals that, may have some kind of wild background still become dependent on the people who care for them. When we had the hurricane here at the zoo, Hurricane Andrew, I'll never forget it. Our aviary was destroyed. All those birds flew away, and they all flew away. But you know what? Within a few days, they flew back. They flew back saying, hey, you know what? It's like, I remember as a little kid, I got really ticked off at my parents. I said, I'm running away. I ran away. That lasted about 4 hours. I got hungry. I said, you know what? It's a little easier at home. So I went back. And animals in a lot of ways do the same thing. Dogs sometimes will get out and they'll run away, and then all of a sudden they come back on their own because they start realizing, wait a minute, home is where the heart is, brother.
Did you pack up like a little blanket and put it on the end of a stick like they do in the
No,
cartoons?
I was young and stupid. I was just really pissed off. I said, I'm leaving. And my father said, great. And, just looked at me, and I'll never forget it because he actually was going to make it harder. He says, okay, but you got to leave everything here that's not yours. I said, fine, I'm leaving. I said, no. My father said, stop, take your clothes off. I bought your clothes. And then I said, well, I can't run away naked, so that would be dumb. Yeah, my dad was smart that way.
Wrong. I read something recently that sounded so ludicrous. I need you to verify or refute the truth of it. I read that crows are able to say aloud numbers at the level a toddler might. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc.
They can certainly say the numbers. It doesn't mean that they know what the numbers mean. It doesn't mean that you can say, okay, crow, say 5, now point to the 5 coconuts. That's the difference. Crows can mimic sounds very well, and ravens, minor birds are kind of from similar type of family. They're one of the best sound reproducers in the world.
So crows can speak.
Crows can, yes, they can emulate sound and say things like numbers, yes.
What kind of savage is the crow, Ron? Because I will occasionally see bird parts on my balcony because I didn't realize that crows destroy other birds.
They do. They raid nests. They eat eggs. They eat chicks. They're thugs. They're gangsters. But having said that, they're also probably the smartest bird in the world. Crows are generally believed to be the smartest of all birds.
I just want you guys to know that Chris Googled counting crows and is not getting any answers, just getting a bunch of band information.
Yeah, Mr. Jones.
Wrong. We wanted to talk to you about cocaine sharks. Apparently, there were sharks that were caught off the coast of Brazil, and they tested positive for cocaine.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is I think we all know that sometimes these drugs get ditched in the water when people are going to get arrested or confiscated, so that those drugs are being diluted in the water, and they're certainly being absorbed by these fish that live in that water. So it's not unheard of to think that. I don't know how widespread it is. Yeah, I'm seeing all this great, it's going to go crazy on social media, I'm sure. But the bottom line is anything you throw in the water that can become diluted in the water can be absorbed by these animals. It's like, listen, if you're not a smoker, but you live in a house with somebody who smokes all the time and is blowing smoke in the house, you're going to have smoke in your lungs. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
He is animal apologist Wrong Magill, always able to defend the behavior of cocaine-using sharks.
If I saw a brick of cocaine, I wouldn't stuff my face in it.
I mean, no chance the sharks just like to party.
Thank you, Wrong. Appreciate your time. Good seeing you again, sir.
Good guys. Have a good week, guys. Take care.
I believe that we have a profoundly lax environment around here that is much different than most businesses. And one of the reasons that I believe this, Stugotz, is because I often say things 10 and a dozen times without anybody doing them. Like, it happens all the time. And yesterday, I would say that I fired off as angry a text as I will ever fire off when I just asked an assortment of people, hey, do I need to fire somebody, or are we going to get a gas bag of the week that I've been asking for a dozen weeks now? Should I be firing Frankie or Robert? Who do you guys want me to fire? Frankie, who works in security, Robert, who's IT, just to make
Not Frankie.
Just to make an example of who should we fire around here, because it seems basically business 101, person on show asks for something as easy as gas bag of the week. Can he get it after asking for it 12 times?
Well, if you notice, Dan, Lewis is not here today. So sorry about that.
Did you fire
Lewis.
him?
Yeah,
I did not fire Lewis. Better to be the security guy or an IT guy, somebody else, just to send a real warning to everybody. I really mean business about I need a gas bag of the week.
Yeah, you needed to soften that threat with all due respect. do I have to fire somebody?
No
Right.
offense.
Yeah, exactly.
No offense.
You came out hot.
Dan, I feel like you want your cake. What's this saying?
You eat it too.
You want to eat your cake and have it too, because like there's a standard
Eat your
we
cake
have.
and have it too.
We have a
Good,
standard
yes.
around here, so I feel like the work has been being done.
We have a standard around here.
Yeah.
The work has been done to get you a gas bag, but sometimes I get a few nominees, and I'm like, guys, Dan's not going to like this one. So that's why, and we're going to do one today, and hopefully it meets your standard.
Chris, I find it hard to believe with all of the people being paid to give sports opinions that are bad all over the country that we can't find a paragraph every week from all of the stupid things being said. It seems impossible for me to believe that with a company's worth of resources, many, many people working for us, we can't just dive into the mainstream and find the occasional gas bag salmon.
Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario, just use my Michael Phelps blurb every week.
I had 22 bad takes just last week alone.
Well, I do think that Greg Cote had a great nominee for Gas Bag of the Week, not Michael Phelps. Your take on the U.S. Olympic bronze medal winning team, that would be something that I would nominate. But do you have something better than that, Chris?
We do. We have a clip of Matt Rhule talking at some sort of Nebraska media day about the Big Ten and them having automatic playoff bids.
This has imaging, though, correct? This has some imaging to it so that we can set it up?
We'd listen to it, and then we either say who is the gas bag. Like, we don't know which one's the gas bag of the week
I
yet.
think the imaging needs to be before Gas Bag of the Week. We'll work it out. Maybe it'll take us another 12 weeks.
We've been doing this for 20
No,
years.
we don't know how to do it. I got to fire somebody. Clearly, I got to fire Robert in IT.
Pablo.
Gas bag of the week.
That's all the imaging that all of Metal Arts
do.
production went into. And here is just Matt Rhule being a gas bag.
I think 4 teams from this league should get in every year because this is the best league. This is the NFL of college football in my mind. It stretches from coast to coast, different time zones, different weather. That's not to diminish any other league. The SEC is amazing. These other leagues are great, but the challenge in the Big Ten is going to be really difficult.
Look at all of you just staring back. I'm going to have to fire somebody. I'm going to have to. It's just obvious. I'm going to have to.
Who do you want to take health insurance from the most?
I just need to
Assuming that
set an
everyone here
example. I
has it.
just want a
I
gas
need it
bag.
too.
I just want a gas bag of the week. That's
Well,
all.
Greg, congratulations. You're the gas bag of the week.
Congratulations,
Way to go.
Greg Cote.
I accept.
Gas bag of the week.
See, it works after.
So Rhule wants 4 automatic bids into the playoff for the Big Ten. What a joke that is.
That's
Seriously,
ridiculous.
who is Matt Rhule? Here's a rule. Finish above 500. Here's another rule. Make it to the Pinstripe Bowl before you start talking about the college football playoff. And Matt Rhule should be wearing a ski mask on the sidelines in Lincoln.
Yeah, but like this was the Big Ten and SEC having more bids to the playoff was something that was on the table, and obviously the reason is that you get more money for more playoff appearances, and they want to solidify themselves as head and shoulders above the other 2 power conferences. So I'm not surprised to hear a Big Ten coach advocating for this.
Why do you have him in a ski mask?
Because
He's stealing money. He went 5-7 last year, 3-6 inside the Big Ten. He ain't sniffing the playoffs anytime soon.
Sounds like he's your gas bag of the week.
He is.
New rules with Stugotz. I like this. Where that's a better segment than Gas Bag of the Week.
Here's a rule.
You just rip. Yes, you giving Matt Rhule new rules is something that I would like to
That
hear.
has book potential, Stu.
It does.
I'm on it.
Isn't that a Bill Maher segment?
Yes.
So,
but it's not spelled RUHLE. New rules.
All right, we're good.
Isn't that RH?
Greg's right, as
RHULE?
usual.
Greg, I want some help.
I mean, he's 16-34. 16-34 in his last 4 seasons coaching at the NFL level and in college. And he's telling us what the rules should be. Here's a rule. Matt Rhule shouldn't be telling us any rules.
I like this. This is a good segment. This is so much better than Gas Bag of
In
the
just a
Week.
few weeks, you might get this
of the
segment,
week.
Dad.
sorry.
Greg Cote has a new segment that he would like to debut today, Dumb Move of the Week, which
different.
is totally different from Gas Bag of the Week. This needs some of its own imaging as well. Can I get some examples before I choose one? Because surely our production staff has not actually created something ready to do Dumb Move of the Week.
Can we rename it Wrong Move of the Week? Because for that, I have imaging.
Ha, ha, you're wrong, you are so wrong. Ha, ha, you're wrong, you are so wrong. Ha, ha, you're wrong, you are so wrong. Ha, ha, you're wrong, you are so wrong.
That's nice.
Great.
Angelic.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Biblical, religious, churchy.
Don't think I can do better than this.
All right, so this is the best we're going to do. What is your wrong move of the week, Greg Cote?
Well, here's the Las Vegas Raiders. You know, struggling and scrambling to be the second or third best team in a division dominated by the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, and here come the Raiders in the middle of their training camp mocking Patrick Mahomes. Not just mocking him in general, but mocking him, taking a very personal shot. We all know Patrick Mahomes has a rather distinctively unusual voice, right? Speaking voice. Well, they mocked his voice using a Kermit the Frog puppet as a prop.
I'm here.
And I just think that's the wrong move, to not only tweak the quarterback who's dominating you, but to do so in sort of a cringy way.
Kermit the Frog here.
I love Kermit. I would be flattered.
Would
even
you?
though it's so mean.
Yeah, if someone said you spoke like Kermit the Frog, that would be flattering to you?
No, you're right.
Every time
But
I see
Kermit's so cute.
What happened there?
Every time I see the voiceover of Patrick Mahomes yelling, I'm here, and it's Kermit saying, I'm here, I'm here. It cracks me up every single time. If I was the Raiders, yeah, I'll give him a pass on that one.
Here's a rule. Don't poke the bear. All right?
There you go.
Seriously, what are you doing?
He already beats them anyway. What difference does it make?
Poke away?
Yes, he does do a good amount of beating of the Raiders and of everybody. Izzy, are you invited to Greg Cote's yacht birthday party?
That is a fantastic question, Greg.
We haven't sent out invitations yet.
Yes, Izzy, you are on the list.
Thank God. I
Putting
was
out
gonna
feelers.
say,
We haven't sent out invitations
I've
yet.
been so nervous about asking this question because I wasn't sure, and just that, this makes me feel so much better. I've been on pins and needles all day. Do I get a +1?
I'm not confirming or denying
Yes.
that anyone is or isn't, or Izzy, on the invite list.
What is happening here where you're not confirming anything and Chris Cote is just telling Izzy yes and Izzy's celebrating, but it's your birthday party?
Get in line on that one. My wife and my son are shepherding and ramrodding this whole thing.
Because that's what you've told us to do. You've sent me many a text. Please tell me whom I'm inviting. Like you're trying to like get yourself away from all of this.
Okay, I'm just trying to insulate myself from post-invite criticism.
How many people do you want there? How many people could fit on the boat?
He has said 100 to 150 is about as far as he's willing to go with the open bar.
So I like the idea of you like a committee figuring this out. You gather like 250 names or so that would want to attend your birthday, and then you announce who's
Well, I
actually
think
made
part
the
of his
final
problem is, though, then the boat has to be the one that's as big as China's was in the opening ceremonies. You got 400 people on it, 400 athletes on it. What is the capacity of the boat?
I think we've been told 100 to 125 people would we don't have to be too crowded. It's not about the open bar thing. I just don't want to feel like I'm crammed into a lifeboat.
If you want, I can just bring my boat and we can just hang out on the side. If you need like some extra space
Like
in there,
that.
we'll just play the same music.
That's not a bad idea, and we'll throw hors d'oeuvres down at you.
Lehman can bring his kayak.
His what?
Kayak.
Oh, I thought you said his pie act. What's he making an apple pie at my party? No, we're gonna have.
Okay, we need to see that. Lehman's pie act,
Just
please.
hold on a second. Let me explain. Let me find out what he meant here. Were you of the opinion that what Jessica was offering you is that on your birthday, her boyfriend would come with an act that involves pies?
Yeah, that's
On
what
a kayak.
she said. He can bring his pie act. That's what she said. That's what I heard.
But you're sharp as a carpet tack. You
Right.
are not delirious at the end of a show.
No.
You thought that Lehman, her boyfriend.
Yeah, I know him as Lee.
What is the
You got to understand, Dan, back in his early days, that was the entertainment. There was a guy with seltzer water and a pie to the face. And it was, all
Back in the
kids were loving
vaudeville
it.
days, am I right? Yes. Yeah, we may have a pie act on the boat. We're going to have a lot going on. I may have a guy rolling cigars. We don't know yet. There's a lot to be determined.
When is it?
September 21st.
Let me check the calendar.
Oh,
What?
I might have a work commitment that weekend.
Get out of it.
Okay.
Juju.
Hey, get your priorities
Her
straight.
boss is sitting right next to you.
It doesn't matter. He'll be at
Doesn't
the
matter.
party if I invite him.
I'm sure. You know who's going to be there? Fired Robert and Frankie, who I fired for the gas bag of the week. They're going to be eating my hors d'oeuvres. Juju, do you know? You don't know yet whether you're invited or not, or have we confirmed that you are invited?
I'm pretty sure I'm not invited after the whole hospital bed Instagram snafu. I think I got myself uninvited off the list. He came and yelled at me, and I haven't looked him in the eyes since that
Okay.
day.
No, you were instantly forgiven for that. It was an honest mistake.
Is he invited?
Juju was outside of Dan and Stu was one of the first two names said. Like when it was gonna be just like the smallest group ever, my dad said Juju after Dan and Stu.
See,
Thank you, brother.
Christopher continues to, betray confidences and intimate details.
If I may,
Junior.
Exactly.
if I may, without getting overly sentimental here, I will tell you that Izzy Gutierrez is someone who grew up in this market. I don't know that there's a lot of anything professionally that makes Izzy as happy as you on this show. This is your 70th birthday, and for the last 5 years, while dealing with mortality stuff and worried legitimately about your cough and telling your son routinely, hey, tell your dad all the things that you feel about him so he knows them and he feels them. You're turning 70, man. There shouldn't really be any limits on this party. Like, you should blow it out. It should be a giant party that celebrates all of your narcissism, all of your fun, and all of the glorious you that is 7 decades of Cody. You shouldn't spare expense, and you shouldn't stress it. Like,
No.
it shouldn't be a source of stress for you. Who am I going to invite? Hey, Chris or Lean, help me out here. Like, you should throw this party in a big ass way.
No, it's going to be pretty big scale, honestly, and I'm not going to limit it by, I don't want to pay this much for an open bar. I mean, that's not even a factor. Money.
But the size of the boat is, and money is not, because I know your wife is not as cheap as you. Like,
Right.
you're the cheap one.
Well, cheapish.
She would describe you as cheap. Your son would both your sons would describe you as cheap or cheapish.
Yeah, he's cheap.
I like this game.
But
Cheap or
just-
cheapish?
Look,
I mean,
there's a lot of close calls in any situation. In my neighborhood, there's close calls. I'm going to invite this neighbor and this neighbor. What about the one down the street that I talk to twice a year? You know what I mean? There's just a lot of close calls.
Speaking of close calls, we haven't had one in a while with Greg, have we? Because he
Knock on
sounds
wood.
great. He looks great.
Yeah.
He does not look like he's approaching 70. He's going backwards here. What's the secret, Greg?
Yeah, I'm a Benjamin Button of my era.
Yep.
No, my health is better than it's been in years. I'm finally on a system of medication that is really controlling my asthma. And
So mocking works.
whatever helps. I take 8-9 pills a day, but I'm not complaining.
He sounds so much better now than he did when he sang Tua Tickets to Paradise that we played yesterday.
No question.
Can we get that again?
didn't hear it, though.
Let me hear it again. It was during the pandemic, and it was the start to the show, and Stugotz didn't hear it.
Tua gonna take us on a trip so far from here. From boring mediocrity to dominance so near. You know why? Because we've waited so long. Since Marino, we've waited so long. Those were the fainting days.
You're better now, though.
How
9 pills.
To a ticket to paradise, won't you grab a mask and believe tonight?
What stopped the fainting? The 9 pills.
Now I'm thinking fainting days to the tune of Glory Days. Work on that, Yeti.
There you go.
Ouch, that merino. It's so painful. It hurts my throat.
Man.
Now we've got a ticket to paradise. Won't you grab a mask and we'll leave?
So you had...
COVID reference, grab a mask. Yeah. The league tonight.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, you had Jessica's boyfriend coming on to the boat with a bunch of pies?
Yeah, bring your own pie. BYOP.
Not making them on the boat. He's bringing like a cooler full of pies
Well, that's
for his
up to
pie
Jess.
act.
Yeah, if it's a pie act, you tell me. How's it going to work?
I'm picturing like it's like a pizza dough and you're rolling it out and spinning it on your finger
I think so.
kneading it out in the air.
I know you're an accomplished baker. I assume that Lee is too. He's going to make a pie live on the boat, and we're going to appreciate
Gonna
that.
have a couple charts.
Yeah.
I'm imagining Lee coming to early. Where do I sit these pies?
Yeah. We'll have a pie table.
That actually reminds me of something that we were going to ask Ron Magill. There was this video that was going viral of a fish with a dog's face superimposed over the fish's face.
Super real.
That was fake?
So I had
What?
I pulled up this video on my phone the other night and I showed it to Lehman who goes fishing all the time, and I was like, what would you do if you caught this fish? And he turns to me completely serious and goes, I think that's fake.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I was
my
such
Lord.
a fish fan after seeing this.
It seems very obviously
It's
fake.
obviously fake. It's a dog's face.
I'm watching on my phone. It's little.
I was offended that he thought it was I thought it was real.
That is so
It literally
cute.
looks
It's a
like
beagle
willow. Like you're gonna hook a willow with a fin on it and a tail. I just drooled again.
Definitely throwing that one back.
Chris
going on with
Cote,
you?
I want some assistance from you on something because the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote,
With
a podcast that is very popular because Greg Cote goes to all the depths of his narcissism. For about a month now, your father, in his way, has been sending me in that gravelly voice of his the worst Joe Biden impersonation I've ever heard. Like, there are a lot of bad ones out there, but none is worse than your father's. We played some of his impersonation. It's as bad a show as we've done in about 10 years. The 1 minute of your father trying to do this Biden impersonation. He's now trying to sell me on the latest appearance of his gravelly voice of Joe Biden calling into the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote podcast, and I don't want to play it.
Well, Joe tried to call me. He got my voicemail, and my wife is always making fun of my voicemail because I say, hey, everybody, like a bunch of people are calling me when obviously it's only one person calling me. So anyway, I go, hey, everybody, my voice comes on, beep, and then Joe Biden is leaving a message from a raucous bowling alley, which is really strange.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's weird.
But I don't want to play it. And Juju, can you make a ruling for me here?
Please say yes.
His voice has fallen apart. The last time we did this, I maintain, is the worst minute of show we've done in a decade that has plenty of bad minutes
Can't
in
get
it.
worse.
You want to make a ruling on this? The way that I would set it up is Joe Biden was calling you from a bowling alley.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I already set it up.
I think since it's such a sensitive topic, and you know I care about sensitive topics, we should do it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, GC, it's Joe. I wanted to reach out to you ever since this business about me dropping out of the race. Just wanted to let you know I'm okay. I'm great. The weight of the world is off my shoulder. In case you're hearing noise, I'm at a bowling alley right now. I tell you, I got all this free time now. Jill reminded me I'm still the president. I'll be heading back to the White House. Right now I'm at Scranton at a bowling alley. I stink, but it's okay. Got Air Force One parked in a bowling alley parking lot. But GC, I'm thrilled to hear you're on the Le Batard Show for the second time this week. That's so great. It's nostalgic for me because, you know, I used to run with Wow Bill Cody. I was the only person who called him Willie other than his brother-in-law, George Lynott, who had restless leg syndrome, would be sitting in a bar having a couple of scotches, and his leg would be tapping like a woodpecker. But listen, I want to assure you one thing. Just because I dropped out of the presidential race, I'm still in it to win it. And let me tell you something. I endorsed the woman who's going to be the first female president in United States history, because I have all the faith in the world in Camaro Harris.
That was a nice message.
It peaked at Scranton.
That bowling alley was raucous.
Sitting around the kitchen table in Scranton.
Chris, I have known your father for a very long time, and I heard it in the Willie and the United States, the slur. That's about 9 Miller Lights.
At least
deep.
7.
But if somebody told you, hey, this is an impression of an American president about 7 or 8 Miller Lights in, you would know exactly who that was.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I got Air Force One parked in a bowling alley.
I'm not going to say anything for fear of getting mansplained about what an impression is again, which is what happened last week when I said Chris's Biden was not very good.
No disrespect, by the way.
Yeah, with all due respect.
It's pretty good. Come on, Jess. Not terrible.
Do you guys want to go
The
have a
Goodwill Ferrell.
Biden off? You and your dad
He
against
can't
each other?
compete with me.
Sitting around the kitchen table in Scranton, my dad says to me, Joey, we spend way too much time sitting around the kitchen table.
All he's got is Scranton. That's all he's got.
Sitting around the table in Scranton.
Oh, thanks, Dan, for asking. Mr. Water Polo Minute. Our U.S. women water polo, we suffered our first loss yesterday. We're 1-1. It's so sad. Oh, my goodness. Those Spanish sisters had that look in their eyes, and that goalie was playing at an all-time rate. Ashley Johnson, she did a great job. She still was a plus 5.6 on the court, as well as Maddie Musselman, 5.5, Tara Prentice, 4.5, Rachel Fatal, 4.4. You did me, and you got to know Giovanna Sekulic. That's my dog. Salute. But I just like seeing all the love that these sisters are getting. Jill Biden was in the building. She gave Flavor Flav a hug. Snoop Dogg in the building. It's like seeing all these people unite around these sports is the most fulfilling part of the Olympics for me.
Question, Juju. Does water polo look like the sport that would be the most frustrating to play given how much underwater shenanigans are going on?
Seriously.
Right, it's so much shenanigans, and that pool is deep, and them sisters be jumping up and getting like, how do you
jump when you're like just in the deep end, like treading water? How do you jump from that position?
Water polo is no lie one of the the sports that I'm impressed with most in the Olympics. It's like when you think about skating and ice hockey, how you have to do it like second nature, but you just have to swim, and you've got people pulling you down, pulling your shorts down. It seems like a very
what's
very
the
difficult
other
sport.
You said 2.
The canoe slalom.
The other one is gymnastics.
Is there more poking?
Canoe looks crazy.
Is there more poking or pinching in water polo?
Great question.
Well, how's your uncle? Well, whoop.
How's your uncle is the poking. What's pinching?
Pinching would
How's
be
your
a
auntie?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything for that one.
How's your uncle? I never heard that one.
The U.S. men's water polo just got a W, though, so salute to my boys.
Nice.
And unfortunately, I'm also tasked with covering the 3-on-3 basketball. Women's, we just caught an L to Germany.
Ouch.
Get well soon, sisters.
How does that work? Are there any big-name basketball players for the women playing? Like, I know for the men, Jimmer Fredette's playing, I believe, for the men. Who are playing for the women? Anyone?
Ryan Howard, Haley Van Lith. We got some good sisters.
Erica Hamby's filling in for Cameron Brink because she got hurt, and Cassie Burdick. And it's one thing that I found interesting about 3x3. First of all, it's called 3x3. Apparently, I've been told that that's the proper nomenclature, not verse 3 or 3-on-3. I keep getting corrected.
Why
about
did
that.
X take over for V? It should have been 3v3.
I don't know, and whoever told me that could be wrong.
Out of
So.
control.
No, I think you're right, because that's all I hear is 3x3.
Three
but who
Twitter
decided
3.
that?
Elon.
It looks really. I forgot what I was gonna say, but it's 3x3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Cameron
remember.
Brink,
It's like you have to have like a certain amount of qualifying events and points to qualify. So
Okay.
for the U.S. team, like it's very different than the last time where it was like Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, like some of the like WNBA players that they wanted to have Olympic experience for playing 5-on-5. This year, it's more players that are well versed in 3x3.
Is it the same USA basketball committee that decides who's on all these teams? That's interesting.
I think they're yes and no.
It's almost like they're minor leagues.
Same federation, but
like they used it last time to get Kelsey Plum ready.
It's kind of a different sport,
right?
Like that's the thing that's confused.
Much preferred by me.
So hard.
Love a half court game. Love a half.
But they don't stop ever. Like they're just going the whole time.
Is it like takebacks? I haven't watched yet 3-on-3. Like, is there literally like takebacks?
Yeah. For sure.
That's awesome.
By the way, this isn't Olympics, but the NBA is starting. WNBA is starting a new off-season league, 3-on-3.
Yes, in Miami.
In Miami, called Unrivaled. That's going to be pretty interesting.
That's cool.
So far, Angel Reese and Breanna Stewart are probably the two biggest name players. Everybody's waiting to see if Caitlin Clark's going to play, but that's going to be interesting. 3-on-3, 5-woman teams, very short season, big payday. They're trying to prevent these women from having to go out of country just to make ends meet, which is
right.
sad.
And it's headed by Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier.
Yeah,
so
they founded it. Yeah,
I think that is a really interesting point, Greg, because so far everyone that's said they're doing Unrivaled, like they are the biggest names of the WNBA, and I'm curious how that will influence the next round of 3x3 tournaments, because it is kind of like you're learning a different sport. It's much faster. I don't know if the rules will be the same as like international competition where like, a shot inside the arc is 1 point, outside is 2 points. The ball's a little bit different, but it is really kind of weird watching it and retraining yourself like how to play or how to like watch basketball almost.
Greg, how do you consume these Olympics? Because yesterday I ruined it for my youngest sister, who for some reason didn't think about the time difference and didn't realize she wasn't watching the men's gymnastics live.
My wife ruined that for me last night because I happened to just miss throughout the day whether the men's gymnastics, and like midway through I was just like, oh, this is a big He's a pommel horse guy. It's all he does. My wife was just like, they won bronze. And I'm like, what do you mean? He hasn't gone yet. I know I was being dumb because I was like, it was clearly in prime time, but I just had a moment and I was just, and then she's just like, she had to she wanted to get out there. She wanted to do this. I got mad at her. I was like,
love those moments.
There was no reason for you to say they won bronze.
Yeah,
like
let you sit for a second.
I was curious about this. It was clear that I was in the I didn't know. I got mad at her. I was like, you just did a thing there, and she smirked.
That was the reason. That was the reason,
She
brother.
wanted to break the news.
2 weeks ago, you did some bullshit in the house. You didn't take out the trash or
Yeah, that's
dish.
true.
And she
Yeah,
got your
right.
ass with that
Oh
bronze.
my God, Chris, the slow report.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
That's a
It
good
could be
idea.
a good time for a slow report.
Caitlin Clark was left off the U.S. women's basketball.
Yeah, you got to do that.
I'm doing that right now.
You got to do that.
All right, Greg.
Yeah.
Do you watch it live in the
Gonna do
afternoon?
numbies.
Do you just ignore things and then just watch it in the evening and not check your phone?
I watch it in the afternoon if it's an event I really want, like when the women's soccer team is playing. That's must-see TV for me whenever it's on. But for the most part, I know the wife and I are going to watch a couple hours of Olympics at night, so I purposely try not to be too informed. I want to be a
That's a
little
good
bit
way to do
surprised.
that.
Yeah, like I didn't know that the U.S. men's gymnastics had won bronze until
Your
I was
wife didn't
watching
ruin it
last
for
night.
you?
No.
She didn't say right
No.
before the most. God, I hate my wife right now.
She did not. She didn't know either. I mean, it's not like she's keeping a secret, But I'm enjoying it, man.
I watch both.
It leaves me longing at night. If I watched it early, and even if I know the result, I'll still watch it later on the encore. But there's no live sports on. I mean, there's, I guess, some WNBA games, maybe, right? Or not right now, right? They're on the break. Some baseball games, but I mean, come on. Like, this is the Olympics, right? And so the Olympics are going on and there's no events at night. It just makes me sad. And so I kind of want to watch the encore just to pretend like it's live.
Yeah, and also, I've been to Paris, and it's just gorgeous. And when you talk about volleyball in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower and equestrian at the Palace of Versailles, there's some of the settings for this Olympics are just visually stunning to me, which is part of my television enjoyment as well.
One thing, Izzy, that I've found is that if you go on Peacock and watch Gold Zone throughout the day, like you might see some repeat stuff in the primetime show. But if you're watching like one long soccer game or basketball game or whatever, they're not replaying those at night. So like you won't double up.
Okay.
So you got to do what Chris does and just not know the results and stay up late and watch it on NBC.
Unless your wife ruins it for you.